Let's go. Let's go, baby. Let's go. UCLA, are you freaking kidding me? I am fired up for tonight's live stream because it's obviously, as there always is with LSU football, a ton of news stories that just comes out of nowhere, right? So, of course, we have the UCLA beatdown of the Hawaii Rainbow Warriors today. We also, this is a big story if you're an LSU football fan. The LSU football team has decided to pack their bags and go to Houston because of the hurricane. And then from Houston, they will fly to Los Angeles on Thursday. So this is a big story. All right. More so than that of UCLA. And we're going to talk a lot about UCLA today. I'm going to share with you my thoughts and concerns. There are some things that I like a lot about what I saw versus UCLA. There are some things that also concern me as well. So obviously we have that we're going to get to, of course, a little bit later. Pretty interesting game today from a certain recruit by the name of MASON TAYLOR, who last season only caught 8 passes. Today he caught 8 passes for 140 yards. I would be very shocked if the son of Jason Taylor doesn't go from a 3-star to a 4-star. So we had some recruiting to talk about, and his teammate, of course, is Julian Armella. But obviously, let's start with the story here. LSU having to repack their bags and go to Houston, which obviously is going to change a lot for LSU's preparation this week, because it does take into account travel. It does take into account players leaving, potential other friends and family that are currently in Louisiana. And obviously, this is another year where hurricanes affect the LSU football team. So this is obviously really big as we welcome in Goose, Shark, Osama, Cliff. I've got to shout this out, okay? Cliff, the president of PHL, is always bringing those super chats, all that great energy. I also want to shout out Delton, who's been in here for a good little bit. Reed is, of course, always bringing the heat as well. We welcome all of you in. And as always, Venmo, Cash App, Super Chat, your question does move to the front. But to me, you know, I understand we want to talk about the UCLA game that we watched a lot of today. But this does affect LSU. This does affect your preparation. Oh, okay. So we go straight to Trey here. He wants to talk UCLA right now. There we go. Show Trey some love in the Super Chat. So we'll go straight to that. Okay. And I'll share some thoughts about the Houston thing. And obviously some of you have sent me messages that are in South Louisiana, saying that you're going to be in and out of tonight's broadcast, obviously because of more important things that are going on. Once again, be safe to everyone, and we will get through this together, okay? Now, let's go to what Trey had to say about UCLA, okay? So the first thing about UCLA is none of what I saw today from their rushing attack really surprised me, okay? So let's start with the obvious here, that UCLA is a really, really good run-based team, okay? Their offensive line is very experienced, and they play together. Also, their offensive line is 6 and 7 deep. So if they suffer an injury, they do not slow down at all, Trey. And this is something that really showed up on film from what I saw last year. Their offensive line is really well put together. So everything you saw from the LSU offensive line last year is the exact opposite of that of UCLA. Today, they were good at picking up blitzes. Today, they were good at moving bodies. And you saw that the superstar from today wasn't their starting running back, Brown. It was Zach Charbonnet, the transfer from Michigan, who really lit Hawaii up. I think the major takeaway from today is when you watched UCLA's quarterback, Dorian Thompson-Robinson, I keep seeing this from LSU fans. Well, he sucks. He sucks. He had a really bad day today. He also made the dumbest decision to hurdle someone I think I have ever seen, and it almost proved very costly for them. So, Trey, I would say this. I never was scared of Dorian Thompson-Robinson. Thank you so much, Cliff, for the super chat. As always, the president of PHL. Appreciate you. It doesn't concern me that DTR played so bad because it's hard to really get a read on him when Silo makes a really good point here. The game wasn't competitive at all. Hawaii had not one, but two disastrous punt plays, and they could not tackle. I will tell you this. UCLA's wide receivers did not separate today. They just simply did not separate. So this is what I think the keys will be to UCLA, okay? Because I think the LSU defense is what a lot of you are really worried about. And we'll get to the LSU offense in a second, okay? Hawaii did look really bad, Trey, and that is a major point. Hawaii looked so bad. And this was a team that had a really good bowl game and very experienced. Looked really, so it's hard to really get a gauge on them. But I'll tell you this. The big keys next week, and it's not a player, but it's a position group, will be the linebackers, okay? If there was ever a game where LSU's linebackers needed to hit the ground running and do exactly the opposite of what they did last year, okay? This would be the game for Damon Clark to come out, the Baton Rouge native, the number 18 uniform. This is his game. This is it. Because everything UCLA does well is stuff that the LSU linebacking crew did not do well. And it's not so much, what's up, Rotator CEHT? Is this your first time to the chat? If so, welcome. This is, really a very key thing right here. You've got to fill your gaps. And last year, the LSU run fits, and I use that word a lot, okay? It's a football-y term. Run fits are essentially filling your gaps, fitting your gaps, okay? And the run fits last year for LSU's defense, from the front of the line all the way to the second level, wasn't just that they were bad. It was that they didn't make sense. And the issue was LSU didn't play enough traditional run-based teams for us to really see the issues with that every game. But it wasn't issues essentially every game that they played against a team that is kind of like UCLA. Really good offensive linemen, traditional running backs. These aren't single-digit, big-time playmaker running backs. UCLA has traditional running backs that are solid. So Brown and Charbonnet, they're not elite athletes. They're really good, but they're not elite athletes. Think Mike Davis of the Atlanta Falcons. Think also Devonta Freeman of the Atlanta Falcons. They are good between the tackle runners that read blocks really well, okay? So you're not going to be going up against home run hitters, but these guys are going to gash you over and over again. And there was one run in particular. It was Charbonnet's, I think, his first or second run. And this was something Alabama did a really good job of against LSU's front last year, where the running back, Najee Harris, who, of course, is way better than either one of the running backs you saw today, but he was really good at reading if the defensive end over pursued and just cut it backside. UCLA is really good at that as well. Okay? And the thing was, on Charbonnet's final touchdown, the linebacker actually fitted the run really well. But, as Rotator C pointed out, he still missed a tackle. And if Damon Clark can't make that tackle, you got to start getting some guys in there. Also, this could be a game that Bug Strong dominates, okay? Because obviously, when you watch Bug Strong on film, really good at fitting the run, a ferocious hitter. We don't know how he defends the pass, but this game has his name written all over it. So we will see what happens as we welcome in Ja, we welcome in Jawan, we welcome in Rotator C. Now, let's talk about the offense and how they match up against UCLA. Okay, so the first thing, and let me end on this as far as UCLA's quarterback, DTR. He's good. I don't think today is really a representation of how good or bad he is. He's not special. He's not special by any stretch of the imagination, but he's really good. He's smart with the football. This is a guy who's been around a lot. And UCLA didn't have to show the kitchen sink today, per se, to Hawaii. Now, hear me out on this. I think DTR will struggle next week against LSU, and it has nothing to do with him. I just don't. And obviously this was eye test. I don't have the all 22. Even the long touchdown DTR threw today, Eli Ricks is going to pick that ball off. It was a little underthrown. A decent corner picks that ball off. An all-world corner like Eli Ricks is going to not only intercept it, but return it for 40 yards. So I like LSU's corners next week. Now, it's all going to come down to run fitting, okay? Which essentially not only means your linebackers, it also means Jay Ward stepping up in the alley and making plays. Major Burns stepping up in the alley making plays. I think this could be a Todd Harris type of game as well. So I just don't think there's going to be so much speed on the field that LSU will not be able to handle it. I don't think UCLA is a particularly fast team, but they're just solid. They're good. They're strong at the point of attack. They're really good. Their offensive line at washing defensive linemen out of the play. And we'll do hopefully we'll get a film study in this week on that very thing. This was something Alabama did a good job of. Also, if you want a game plan that I think Chip Kelly's going to roll with against LSU, think what Elijah Drinkowitz did last year versus LSU in that Missouri game. And that Missouri team is formatted a lot like UCLA's team. But I just don't think, I'm sorry, I just don't think, and I felt this way beforehand, UCLA's got experienced wide receivers. This is just a very experienced team. I just don't think they're going to be able to separate. Now, Cordell Flott, on the other hand, in the slot, that's going to be a little bit different. So obviously, we'll see what happens. This is interesting. I forgot about highlighting comments. I'm an idiot. I'm really sorry about that. So obviously, we're talking about UCLA here. Quick takes on beating UCLA. Now let's move to the other side of the football. UCLA's athletic on defense. Now, I was a little surprised by that. Now, Hawaii's quarterback wasn't great. They dropped a lot of passes, but their defense looked a little more athletic, especially in the front seven. And they lost a really good defensive lineman to the Cowboys this offseason as well. But once again, it's so hard to get a read on it when the other team had incompetence. So it's pretty simple here. I think one interesting thing LSU could do in this game versus UCLA, because I always like there to be one thing you didn't show on film the game before. So obviously, there is no game before here for LSU, but what the UCLA coaching staff is going to do is this week, they're going to rewatch the Ole Miss game, because obviously that is what the team is going to look like very much going into this game. In fact, the starting lineup might be near identical outside the running back position. So outside of Dare, of course. I would be very interested and not surprised at all if you see Kayshon Boutte more in the slot on Saturday. It would not shock me at all. And it makes a lot of sense, really. If you want to give a curveball, put your best athlete over the middle of the field. Makes a lot of sense. That's Max's best wide receiver. Also, you look at Max Johnson's passing chart. While he never threw a pass of 20 yards or more over the middle, last year, Max Johnson to the middle of the field on throws from 11 to 20 yards was 7 of 7. Okay? What I would like to see is LSU put a true assassin right there in the field. And Kayshawn is that guy. So what I would not be surprised to see next week is a lot of BTJ out wide, Jure out wide, and let Kayshawn just cook all day. Let him go Justin Jefferson. And I know we view Kayshawn in that number 1 uniform being an outside guy, but it would not shock me. Now, that's not necessarily Kayshawn's game, but I could see it. I could see it because that is some true misdirection because Kayshawn doesn't play the slot a lot. So I could see that. Also, what's going to be interesting as well is UCLA's is a little more active. I don't think they're special. I think they're movable, especially using, that lineman to the Cowboys. But his name is something I don't remember. I think the LSU offensive line can move some bodies and get the running game going. So we'll see what happens. And I have yet to mention Jure Jenkins yet. But I just did a second ago. But still, I still think LSU's offense should be able to move the ball on UCLA some. And once again, we didn't get much defensive film today because Hawaii's offense really did nothing. And really the only drive that they had in the first half were some really questionable penalties called on Hawaii. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. All right. Ahmad. I know Ahmad is excited to talk about some MASON Taylor a little bit later. So let me know if you have any more questions, Trey. Thank you for your really generous super chat right off the top here. And Cliff, you also get to pick the next question as well. Let's talk about Jake Pete's here. Okay. Pete's motion, Butte all season. I'm sure like Brady, Chase, and JJ. Yeah, I think you'll see more Kayshawn in the slot this year. I do. Also, Cole Taylor over the middle. Or my Lafayette viewers tonight, the 337. I'm telling you, I love my Lafayette viewers, but if Jack Besh and Malik Neighbors go off in the first game, we're going to be hearing about it for the rest of the year. Y'all slept on us. And they very well could. They're both really good ball players. I love my 337 viewers, baby. Where are my Lafayette peeps tonight? I don't think Tomcat's in here. I don't think Brian's in here. Laffy. Iceman, I hadn't seen you in a minute. Good to see you. But yeah, obviously our poll question today. God, Ahmad, Chris Hilton. Even though Chris Hilton's kind of a fade right now, who has the advantage? Does UCLA have an advantage playing a week early, or does LSU, with an extra week to prepare, have the advantage against UCLA? And there's no tape on LSU. The thing is UCLA really didn't have to show their hand, right? They did essentially everything we thought that they would do. It is a little interesting, though, that LSU was able to get Zach Charbonnet on film. Because the one thing with him against Michigan was he was always a really just solid between the tackles guy, but he never really was explosive. Today, he showed some home run ability. So let's go to Cliff Super Chat here. What's up, Paris? You got your bug bands in the mail. So before we get to Cliff's message, my booger bands are right here. 1 for 10, 2 for 15, 3 for 20. Get your booger bands. Bug the dog. Let's go. 1 for 10, 2 for 2 for 15, 3 for 20. And Paris not only got Booger Band, she also got a Tre'Davious White second, and it's in the second year. Fourth year card. We'll send you this Tre'Davious White card. We also have some other LSU cards. And in fact, what we'll do here, before we get into Cliff's super chat question, we're going to raise the ante. Okay? Boom. Giving out a second-year Joe Burrow card to the next person that buys Booger Bands. 1 for 10, 2 for 15, 3 for 20. You know it's rare I give out Joey B's, but here we go. We're giving out a Joey B right here. So there you go. Let's see. This is a good question here to go along with what Cliff has to say. Cam Wire does have a lot of game experience. My initial comment, I'm concerned about the LSU mediocre offensive line versus a more experienced UCLA defensive line. Yeah, so this is going to be a big concern. And honestly, you know, hopefully Brad Davis is lit a fire. Here's the thing about offensive line play, okay? And this was the very bad issue about the LSU offensive line. Right, thank you for your super chat, man. And we will get to your question after this from the LSU offensive line, okay? And once again, Iceman, you want it? It's yours, man. So the next person gets 20, you get 3 Joe Burrow bands. So it's got to be a 3 for 20 Joe Burrow bands. You get a Joe Burrow card. 1 for 10, 2 for 15, 3 for 20. Okay, so let me do this. Okay. My first concern about Cam Wire at left tackle was it was rough for him versus Auburn, and that game was on the road. Okay. Outside of that, he was good. Not great, but he was good. Also, Cam Wire looked better at right guard. I thought his offensive guard tape was better than that of his offensive tackle tape. And LSU wasn't going in this direction prior to the Dare Rosenthal thing. I felt LSU's best offensive line, and I felt this unit would have been a college football playoff offensive line, would have been Dare at left tackle, Ed Ingram at left guard, Liam at center, Cam Wire at right guard, and Austin Deculus at right tackle. So Cam Wire at left tackle, you know, I feel okay with it. I'm a big fan of Cam Wire. His mother Kia is a fan of the channel, and I love a 3-star any day of the week. Right? UCLA's got some good athletes coming off the edge. Now, are they Terrell Lewis level? I mean, we're not. I don't think any of them are like a BJ Ojolari per se, but they are long, they are athletic, they are active. Okay? I think a lot of it's going to come down to how well Jake Peetz calls this offense. I think there's going to be some situations where Max is going to face some unblocked blitzers. And to go along with Cliff's point here, and once again, I know we got a lot of super chats. We're going to get to all of them as fast as I possibly can. This is a big key for me as far as the LSU offensive line is concerned. I can deal with a unit that's not that great at moving bodies. And when I say moving bodies, I mean, very simply, it's what that stands for. It's not some fancy term. It's moving people to open up holes in the running game. It's okay if you don't move bodies. Okay. You can live with some offensive linemen that don't get crazy pancakes. But what you can't live with is something that the LSU offensive line could not do, which is read a blitz, which is communicate. Liam Shanahan in the middle really struggled with that. So for me, I feel as if that's going to be the key. I think Ole Miss. I think UCLA is going to throw a bunch of different blitzes at him, and LSU is going to have to figure it out. Let's see. Apple Man, there you go. Let me type this out for you. Send it there, Kappa Man, and I'll send it to you. And you send me an email If you get booger banned, send me an email with your address, powerhourlsu@gmail.com. So, yeah, I think the LSU offensive line, we'll touch on them a little bit later, but we're going to get to a few of these super chats really quickly. Delton, you just laid off a very generous super chat, and we'll get to it in a second. Let's get to Rai up in Canada. My favorite thing about the new icons here with StreamYard is that you can see Rai's dog right there. It reminds me of Bug. It really does. I'm very excited for September 4th. The players I'm most excited to see are the ones who have to prove they belong on the field, which are Flotz, Hines, Emery, and TDP. And look, this is one of the best super chats we've gotten all season. This is it. This right here. And I understand Rai's been one of our favorite viewers up in Canada and one of our most ardent supporters. But I think a lot of you feel this way, right? Obviously, there's a lot of momentum for this 2021 true freshman class. And I'm not just saying that because there's always momentum for true freshmen. Apparently, some of these guys really can play, okay? And if we're being honest, the 2020 class had a few gems. Obviously, Jaquelin Roy, Kayshawn, and Ojolari are the first three that come off. And there's some other really good players in that crop, Coy Moore being one of them. But I'm hearing that this 2021 crop is very, very, very good. Okay? And the 2020 group never really got their chance to play a whole lot as true freshmen last season. But this comment right here is what ultimately decides whether or not you have a championship team. I just think you can't win championships unless you have experienced players that do the little things right. And, I know a lot of you haven't been able to catch the videos this week because the videos were longer this week. And Robert just dropped a $200 super chat. And I'll finish this really quickly, Rai. This is obviously very key. Let's be honest. LSU's not going to win a national championship unless the four guys that you listed right here step up. Now, there might be true freshmen, say Sage Ryan for Cordell Flott, say Jason Hines with Garrett Dellinger, and John Emery and TDP, Armani Goodwin and Corey Kiner. All four of those backups as true freshmen might be better than the four guys you have listed. It's just really hard to win national championships with a team full of true freshmen. Go look at any LSU national championship team, and outside of Derek Stingley, how many transcended true freshmen do you see? Not many. Delton, but really quickly, let's go down to Robert really quickly. Iceman, Kappa Man, thank you for your super chat, man. Everyone, welcome in King Robert, our cancer warrior of PHL. Fighting the big C like a champion. Let's go. Rain's a Robert fan. Zachary's a Robert fan. I know Carver's is a Robert fan. Doug in the 337. RIP Bug the Dog. You know it. Robert was a big Bug the Dog fan. Robert, you're my guy. You know it. And it's kind of weird, Robert, because one of my best friends, I was going to text you this earlier. One of my best friends, Leslie, she is my running coach. She was just diagnosed with cancer, and it sucks. It really, really does suck. And, Leslie is one of my best friends. She got me into running. But Robert, we are fighting with you, my guy. Everyone on this channel, I get a lot of questions about Robert. Thank you so much, man. I appreciate you. Let's get to a few more of these questions really quickly. Delton, thank you so much for being patient. And we got bombarded with the super chats here, so we're going to get through as many of these as we possibly can. How did LSU come to acquire the use of the Texas facility for practice? I don't know. That's a question for Derek Panamsky. I don't work at LSU Ops. Maybe someone can enlighten us. I'll tell you this. Most colleges I say most. I won't get into the controversy that happened 5 or 6 years ago with hurricane evacuations, because I don't want this live stream to be about that. Anyway, but you guys know what school I'm talking about as far as the drama. But anyway, I don't know. I don't really know all of LSU's travel plans. I do know Roger sent me, and I saw this earlier as well, LSU equipment, just piling in all the equipment now. And it is interesting, Delton, that, these players are going to be on the move. It's such a unique experience. I will also say this, though. I think the players going through what happened last year with Missouri is going to really help, because it's going to let those players know that, yes, your travel plans and where you were going to play changed in a heartbeat. And obviously the location here is a little bit different, considering that, the game is still going to be in UCLA. But I think the team is going to understand how important it is to stay focused, even though this is obviously a big time inconvenience. So obviously, Delton, you're covering the big story here. How did all of this happen? How did LSU come to this decision? Well, for me, and I always say this about college football in general, the best coaches are the ones that can adjust. And obviously, Ed Orgeron's a national championship coach. He should be able to handle the situation just fine. LSU's got a lot of experienced staffers, whether it's, Greg Stringfellow, Jeffrey Grigas, Derek Panamsky, we just mentioned. Those guys are going to have to be huge this week, because now your football ops people have got to step up and make this transition as smoothly as you possibly can. So yeah, I'm sure all those guys are going to keep everyone in line as far as that is concerned. I don't think it should concern you too much. Let's go to Max here. Still say we lose to UCLA. Ed Orgeron needs to go. UCLA QB is not very accurate. I would stack the box and dare him to throw the football. The only thing I'm concerned about is our horrendous O-line against their fabricated pressure. Yeah, Max, I won't talk too much about that last week because we just touched on it. But since you did ask about it, yes, you should be concerned about that. I also do think, since Jake Peetz comes from the NFL, even though Max Johnson is a relatively younger quarterback, he is the son of a quarterback that played in the NFL for a decade plus. I think Jake Peetz, because once again, he's coming from the league where quarterbacks have a big effect on who, orchestrates pressure calls. I would not be surprised if Max Johnson has a little bit more say-so on protection going into next year. Now, once again, that's a lot on the plate of a quarterback who is 19, 20 years old, but it would not shock me if that's the case. UCLA QB is not very accurate. I would stack the box and dare them to throw the football. Well, I would say this as far as like defensive scheme is concerned, based on the wide receiver play today from UCLA, which was okay. I think Durante Jones is going to run a lot of man under next week. Now, I think a big part of next week is going to be how the safeties tackle when they come up into the box. Still say we lose to UCLA. Ed Orgeron needs to go. I don't agree with that. Not like just right after the game, but how the rest of the season pans out will be very interesting. I don't think I don't. It's going to take just a pure disastrous season for Ed Orgeron to lose his job, and a lot of it would come down to how LSU loses. If LSU loses a bunch of very unlucky close games, they're going to be fine. Ed Orgeron's going to be fine. Let's say you go 9-4 and you lost close games to Alabama and A&M. I mean, what are you going to say? You'll probably not do a whole lot. But I don't. If LSU loses to UCLA, I don't think Ed Orgeron would be tarmacked by any stretch of the imagination. So let me know if that answered. Let me know if that answered your question, Max. Okay, let's see. LSU's tight end going to have a field day against UCLA? Hope so. Cole Taylor. Robert, you're the man. Super Chat Challenge, 20 and up. Yeah, Robert, they followed your lead, my guy. Zachary, I love it, man. For my fellow interneters, it's that Super Mario meme where he's holding out the crown. You drop this. Robert is the king of PHL, man. Whatever he says goes. Cliff's the president. Robert's the king. Hey, here's the thing, Rain, about this. Kayshawn going for 200 yards. It's possible. It's very possible week one. Very, very possible. And here's what's very interesting about Kayshawn. And if you can get some Heisman odds on him, it should be very interesting. So the reason why Kayshawn's Heisman odds, I think, would be fascinating is he's going to have a high amount of targets. We know Max loves to lock in on him and throw them football. I don't think Max Johnson, I think he's going to put up big stats. I don't think he's the quarterback that's going to be so unbelievably flashy, which obviously helps with votes. You know, Mac Jones wasn't really a flashy quarterback. He didn't have a cannon arm. He didn't have the amazing throws and runs that Joe Burrow had. I would be very interested to see what Kayshawn's Heisman odds are. It would be very interesting. And we also know that the committee will vote for a wide receiver. So if you think LSU is going to go to the college football playoff this year, you very well could see Kayshawn getting some Heisman love if you think he's Jamar good. I like that attitude, Samuel. Smoke. You live streaming the game, or at least watch along on this chat. So what we're going to do next week, Rai, is we're just going to do a post-game show, because this is how a lot of you are, and I am as well. It's hard to we get so caught up in the course of a game. I don't think it would be good for any of our health if we did a live watch along. I might try one out for like a smaller game where, I don't know, McNeese or something like that. I might try a watch along with that because, you know, obviously post-game chats, if the game isn't really that compelling, it's just not going to be as great. We'll see. 15-minute halftime live stream for that. So I'll that out next week. Why not? Okay, Matthew, thank you for the Cash App. So Matthew and Iceman, you both sent your super chats at around the same time when I said the Joe Burrow card thing. So what I'll do is I will send an extra Joe Burrow card out. Okay. So both of you are going to get Joe Burrow cards along with your Booger Band. So congrats on joining the Booger Band crew. I wasn't really into Joe Burrow. I don't give out the Burrows that often. It's got to be a special occasion, but tonight is special. King Robert's in the chat. Yeah, Rain, there needs to be a bidding war. Iceman and Matthew are both great viewers of the channel. So they are both going to get Joe Burrow cards. So, Matthew, I think you bought some bands already. So I think I have your address. Iceman, hit me up on Twitter or Instagram, Carter the Power, or you could send me an email, powerhourlsu@gmail.com. Learn to chase the bag. We'll do some Terrace Marshall chat a little bit later. I know some of you are very interested in Terrace Marshall, just killing it. But let's go to Max's super chat here. Hypothetically, here, how many natties do you think we would have if Saban was our? Oh, come on, Max. As much as I love the fact that this is super chat, woulda, coulda, shouldas are for 2 hours in, right? We're still 39 minutes into this, right? I don't know, 10. 15, I don't know. There's so many things that would need to happen for all that to happen. And we can get into, well, Saban, he would have picked Drew Brees instead of Culpepper, and if Rich Rodriguez had taken the job. Yeah. The what ifs are out there. My favorite what if, though, and one that's not talked about a lot, is what if Tim Duncan, he was so close to going to the Orlando Magic and playing with Doc Rivers and Grant Hill. That was going to be a super team, but it didn't happen. Now that one's a little better. Cody, good to see you, man. Everyone at South Louisiana, make sure you have your generator gashed up, you have enough extension cords and beer. So this is obviously very important, more important than this live chat. Please stay safe as some bad weather rolls in. Let's see. I'm gonna have to give out one of my more rare burrows. We'll see. Cody, good to have you back, man. Good to see you. So a few more things from the UCLA game. And about an hour in, I know some of you want to talk some recruiting with MASON TAYLOR going off today on ESPN, looking like GRONK out there. Are you freaking kidding me? He caught 8 passes last year, and he caught 8 passes today. That was really impressive. And I said whenever he committed, I was like, I'm going to be interested to see what his senior film looks like. And today was pretty good. And we'll go to here, okay? I can't wait to see LSU's defensive line manhandle UCLA's offensive line. You know, the one thing that was very interesting, and, you know, someone did a really good film study on DTR, and I think it was O'Sullivan that did it. But DTR is a decent off-platform thrower. He is good when the pocket's dirty, okay? And he's also a good scrambler. So in other words, if you have a really good defensive line, it can be negated if a quarterback is mobile and is not afraid to sit in there and make plays with his arm. And number one for UCLA has done that a few times. So yes, the LSU defensive line should have a good day, but keep in mind, you're going up against an offensive line that is really experienced, and you're going up against running backs, 2 of them that have actually exceeded expectations. Now, Zach Charbonnet was actually a really highly rated player coming out. And the one thing I really like about their running backs is they are really good at reading lanes. They pick their rush lanes and they allow a play to develop. Whereas, as many of you know, the LSU offensive line wasn't good at creating those lanes last season. So we'll see what happens. But yes, next week the chat will be post game, so no worries about that. Okay. Kendrick Law has already entered the chat. I wish actual Kendrick Law was in this chat. I freaking love that guy. Hope he commits. Let's see. Let's go to Zachary. This is obviously the poll question here. My main worry is UCLA having played a game. The first game is nothing like any others, especially when we have new coordinators. I think we will win, but UCLA having a momentous game helps them. Okay, so let's check in on the poll question here. So far, 100 votes in. Does LSU have an advantage playing a week early, or does LSU with an extra week to prepare? As you can see here, LSU is the clear runaway. So once again, this is not who do you think is going to win question. This question is a little bit different. Do you think, and I'm looking at you right now, whether you're watching this in Louisiana or in Washington like Trey, or you're in Houston like Robert. Robert, Coach O should have you at practice, man, to give them a good pep talk. You can be in DC, you could be in Montana, Canada with Rai. I want you right now to really think about this question. Do you think it gives LSU a little bit of an advantage? Zachary, you're in Nashville. What's good, man? Max, I'll go a little deeper on your Saban question a little bit later. Yeah. Well, you should be in here. See here, put that right there. All right. Let's see. So yes, a post game chat. Let's see here. Jaqueline Roy. About time his name entered the chat. Freaking love it. Yeah, this is going to be an interesting matchup for Mason Smith, because this is going to be the best offensive line he has faced in his career by far. This is a good question here from Doug. Our Ds are so athletic they should be able to get pressure on their QB. We just need our DTs to stuff the middle and dare them to beat us with their arm, which we won't. So, great question. Now, Doug in the 337 with the super sharp avatar. I'll say this as far as LSU and their defensive line. The one thing that could be really difficult for an athletic, explosive defensive line, which is what LSU has, is when you face an experienced offensive line and running back room like UCLA has, it is very easy to create holes in the running game. So think, the Missouri game last season where the LSU pass rush and their defensive line was able to get penetration, but we still could not stop the run or defend the pass to save our life. And what those offensive lines were doing was allowing their aggression to wash themselves out of the play, which is what would get your run fits off as well. So you can have a very explosive defensive line. You can have a really good playmaking defensive line. But here's a very interesting thing. And once again, I know we've done so many deep and long film studies this week. This is one of our older ones where we went through the run fits. The LSU defensive line last season was top 3 in the SEC in havoc, top 3 in the SEC in tackle for loss, top 3 in the SEC in tackle for loss percentage, top 3 in the SEC in turnover percentage, top 3 in pressures, top 3 in sacks, top 3 in sack percentage in the SEC. And we were still a historically bad defense, and our run fits were still really bad. So that's going to be the key. This is going to be a big game for the Damon Clarks, the Micah Baskervilles of the world, and getting all of that worked out. Because if not, this could be one of those situations where they're pounding you 6, 7, 8 yards at a time. You just got to bend and not break. What would be very interesting, Doug, to go along with your question here, and this ties in with what Cliff was talking about earlier, and this ties in with Trey's super chat from earlier. What's very interesting with the team today that showed that they are far more explosive on the ground than they are through the air. What that tells you is you want to get out on them early, right? And if you get out on them early, don't take the foot off the gas, okay? So out of all the deep studies, and I know I probably shouldn't have put all these, like I did 4 videos this week that I spent 5 days to make individually, videos that I'd been working on for a week. I think the most important one we did, though, was the third quarter film study. So yesterday's film study was on why Cade York's kick against Florida potentially shouldn't have counted. And the day before was a big one, the third quarter film study. I hope if LSU jumps out on them, that they just stay aggressive. Keep doing what you're doing. So we'll see. Let's hope that if LSU jumps on them, you out. And I understand this is one thing. If I can ever give credit to a man that I do not like a lot, the one thing I really liked about Urban Meyer was he was a really good third quarter coach. He showed no mercy. He never took foot off the gas. He will choke you out and embarrass you. And I think LSU last season, there were some games where, in the third quarter, things would get shaky. And you just gotta choke people out. And I hope if LSU jumps on a lead, look, you saw the crowd today, right? There was maybe 4,000 people. Okay. It's not going to be raucous. I would not be shocked, even in the middle of a pandemic, if there's going to be more LSU fans. I know we have a lot of PHLers going to the game. Plum's going to the game. Jared's going to the game. So it's going to be wild. It's going to be wild. But we'll see. Yeah, well, here's the thing, Rain. I was talking to Marcus about this earlier, and this is interesting for you sharps. Does this change when you place your LSU wager? Right? do you wait and see if this line is going to shift? I haven't really gotten a chance to look if the line has really moved all that much regarding LSU or UCLA. So yeah, it's very interesting, right? As far as that is concerned. For me, if this becomes pick'em, I'm like, really? Pick'em? Especially, here's something else about UCLA that's very interesting as well. Okay. I understand that there is so much pressure on LSU in this game, coming off a 5-5 season, and now you're off schedule, you haven't played, and you have two coordinators who have never called plays at the Power 5 Division I level. Well, here's the thing. LSU, especially to end last season, was really clutch in key moments. I do not trust Chip Kelly situationally. I just don't. UCLA was not great situationally last year. Obviously, the USC game is the one that everyone remembers. If this is a close game, I do slightly favor Orgeron. And I could make a strong argument that there's more pressure on UCLA going into this game than there is in LSU. Here's the thing, UCLA is going to be like, okay, we just had this dominant game against, a program with a decent brand, Hawaii, and nobody showed up. We're giving out free tickets. And we're not just giving out free tickets. It's the freaking Rose Bowl. The best college football venue on the planet is the Rose Bowl, outside of Tiger Stadium, of course. The Rose Bowl is incredible. And 4,000 or 5,000 people can't show up. 4 or 5 people. I mean, so that's the thing, I still can't believe it. I honestly can't believe it. And I understand California is a busy place. College football is the 21st thing on the totem pole there. Okay. And in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, college football, of course, is number one, and nothing is close as far as entertainment and things to do. I understand college football is not cared about at all in LA, and I totally get it. But how many people were really there? 5,000, 6,000? Could it be that no one showed up because they were going to the LSU game next week and it was really hot? I don't know. So tell me if this is true or not, guys. UCLA is now a 1-point favorite. Well, that's just a clear, sharp play. If that's the case, then, I have my doubts about LSU going into next week. But if a line shifts, 4.5, 5 points off of a blowout win versus a Hawaii team who gave you 14 points because they couldn't punt the football cleanly, couldn't tackle against a team that had a quarterback that threw for maybe, he was horrible in the first half. Yeah, that was not. I saw that Zach was like, no. Who was it that tweeted out? I think it was Jeff Schwartz, the former NFL offensive lineman, that was like, there might be 4,000 or 5,000 people in there. That's true too, Marquise. UCLA very much a basketball school, especially after that Final Four run last year. What in the world was that? My God. And that was the first time UCLA's ever had any success in college basketball. It's wild. But you're right, Marquise. UCLA is definitely a basketball school. Baseball? Are they a baseball school? I don't know. Aaron, every time Aaron, his first comment when he comes into a live stream, he's always, let's go. Let's go. So here's the funny thing is UCLA's given the tickets to high school students to go to the games, not just, UCLA students, high school students, just anyone that wants to go. Good question here, Isaiah. Is it true that Derek Singh will not be playing wide receiver this year? I think at this point, you can punt on that idea. And I use that pun for a reason, because if there's anything Derek Stingley should be focused on is punt returning, right? Wide receiver play, I think LSU's, and especially if the true freshman wide receivers are doing what they're doing, and Devonta Lee is apparently doing what he's doing, there's no point in putting Derek Stingley. So, yeah, I'm sorry. This just isn't this just isn't the move. And look, personally, I think all of us would like to see Derek Stingley play offense, as in just from an entertainment standpoint, because his offensive film in high school was ridiculous. But there's a difference in wanting to see something and it actually being a very rational thing to do. Like, I would like to see Mason Smith get a handoff just to see what happens, right? But it's not a rational thing to do, right? And I think while that's a little bit more extreme, I just think at this point it's not worth the offense thing. But it is what it is, right? What's up, Big Al? Good to see you. Yeah, I just don't think this is good for Sting. Look, you are a year away from making generational money, and his family is well off, and he's signed some good NIL deals already. It's just not worth it. It's not worth it at all. Good. So yeah, at least it's not happening. I wouldn't have entertained the idea really at all, but yeah. Yeah, KJ, I would do that if the LSU offense needed it. The thing is that they don't need it, right? It's a little bit different if you were, let's say, the 2014 LSU offense and you needed some explosiveness, you needed some sparks, and your wide receiver room wasn't as deep as it is now. That would be a little bit different, but that is not the case. Big Al, you're in Alabama. Just text Jared a message. Jared's not in the stream right now. He is leaving on Thursday. Just hop in. You know you're going to be able to get a ticket. State at Neptune, I'm going to give my my predictions this week on the channel as far as my final record. Let's see. But yes, it was shocking to see how empty the stadium was. So waited normally about an hour. I always try and be on the hour to talk some recruiting. You know, there's not a whole lot in recruiting. Obviously, there's bigger stories right now, and you know, recruiting becomes more important once LSU home game starts and when we move closer to December. But the big takeaway today was Mason Taylor, right? He looked really good. He looked really, really good. And to go from catching 8 passes for a full year, getting an LSU offer, obviously he put in a lot of work this offseason, and you could just tell, you know, he was putting so many of his practices on huddle. And you could just tell he was starting to morph into what you expected him to be. And Jason Taylor himself wasn't really a highly ranked recruit, and he was a late bloomer as well. So it seems like LSU got this Mason Taylor thing right, and it's going to be very nice to have him and Jake Johnson in the same tight end class, especially considering how bad the tight end recruiting's been. It's been really good actually, but because Jalen Sheet and Eric Gilbert had left your room a little bare, but now you have 2 studs coming in. Obviously, most important thing, please stay safe, everyone. So if you're a recruiting fan, there you go. Mason Taylor, 8 catches for well over 100 yards today. And Julian Armella had a good day as well. So, yeah, that's going to be your biggest uncommitted out-of-state prospect to keep an eye on. The 4-star tackle, Julian Armella. He is the number 1 ranked tackle on Rivals, though, as a 5-star. So there you go. This is a good point here from Isaiah as well. There's a reason why Eli Ricks was the number 1 player on PHL. California homecoming, right? We'll see. You know Eli Ricks wants a pick 6 in California. And you know he's feeling great, man. Mater Dei High School put the beat down on Duncanville. I was really shocked by that. I'm not even a huge high school football. I was like, well, really? The powerful Duncanville? That's crazy. But you know, Eli Ricks is feeling himself right now. He's coming back to the West Coast. He's getting to come back home. This is a guy who hasn't played in California since his junior year of high school. Okay, IMG Academy. You know he's going to be jumping some passing lanes. This is good right here. Good luck with that, Marquise. Let me know how that goes. You should go shoot your shot, man. The herd. All right, Iceman. I got you on that, man. 58 years old. I love it. Let me see. I got you. There you go, Iceman. I got it. So if you want to delete that, I got you. I'm going to send you a couple other goodies as well, man. I really do appreciate it. Our chats are so much better with you in it. Let's see. Rain, settle down, dude. Settle down, Rain. Do not, Rain, you see, you're just hating, man. You're just hating. Let Marquise shoot a shot, okay? Let him shoot his shot. I love it. Look, man. Colin was a big influence on me as a sports broadcaster. Stuart Scott was my biggest influence. But yeah, Joy Taylor, she's great on the on that show. But yeah, I mean, Joy's got to come to Baton Rouge now. There's no doubt about it. I'll co-host the show. I'm probably just waiting on the LSU game. Yeah, it's true. You could see that as well. Let's go to Ryan Super Chat. Do you think Brian Thomas sees the field opening day? Yes. He might be the starter. Paris, you better come get Marquise. You better give Marquise a few pointers on shooting that Joy Taylor shot. And you know, I'm sorry, Rain. You can hate all you want. The thing is, Marquise, Rain is jealous of your confidence, Marquise, to just toss it out there. Joy Taylor is single, though. Mark, come on, Louisiana guys, we're the best, baby. If you're born in Louisiana, y'all know we got that. We got that magic. So the thing is, you're gonna see Brian Thomas play a lot. Okay, the most valuable asset you can have as a wide receiver. Obviously, the most valuable asset is reliable hands, right? But the thing about reliable hands is that a lot of wide receivers can catch the football. Okay, but there's not a lot of wide receivers who can stretch the field. And Brian Thomas Jr. is one of those guys, okay? You guys remember Brandon LaFell? Who remembers Brandon JoJo LaFell? Okay? We don't talk about him a whole lot on this channel. Now, who here remembers how bad the Brandon JoJo LaFell drops were? Okay? We went through it. Brandon LaFell's drops were something we had to suffer through during a national championship run. Okay? And they had other receivers on the roster. But you want to know why you do not bench Brandon LaFell? Because he can stretch the field. Okay? If you can do that, you're going to play. And Brian Thomas Jr. can do that. And he's a long wide receiver who can potentially catch contested balls. Now, if you were, once again, we got a lot of people in the 337 who have been after me on not talking about Malik Neighbors enough. Okay? And I have gotten an email from someone that said, look, Carter, I love your analysis. I love your breakdowns, but you are so wrong. Malik Neighbors is going to be the best LSU wide receiver in this freshman class. And when I got the email, I was like, no, I don't think so. But the one thing Malik Neighbors does a really good job of, contested catches, right? And part of why, I wasn't fading Malik Neighbors. I liked him a lot. Is we just didn't get to see senior film, which, that was part of it. But, man, he could play. Apparently, he can really play. So contested catch skills are very key. And that's something he could do really well. So of the freshman wide receivers, I think Deion Smith and Chris Hilton are going to be more year two guys. And I think it's going to be the Jack Bench, Brian Thomas, and Malik Neighbors show. Now, Carl the Cat, what's good, my guy? So we'll see, right. Hopefully I answered your question okay. I would not be surprised if Brian Thomas starts. I really would not. It would not surprise me. But I think your starting wide receiver room is going to be Keyshawn, Jure, and Coy. Now, this is where it gets interesting. which, the Devonta Lee thing, it becomes interesting. Because look, we all have our personal favorites. We have viewers in Amite, Louisiana. We have viewers in Kentwood, Louisiana. Okay. And, you guys are obviously going to be impartial to those two players for the 2019 class. But the more you thicken your wide receiver rotation, the harder it is to develop that chemistry. And if you watched our Max Johnson red zone film study, you saw the very first missed throw to Trey Palmer was due to a lack of chemistry between the two of them. Okay. And that's all it was. So we'll see. This is a good question here from Paris. What kind of money? Paris always has the best super chat. What kind of money A&M pushing out to these recruits? Everybody got them final list. Man, look, I don't know. I don't. Maybe it's just me. I don't get the Texas A&M allure, right? I just don't get it, Paris. Okay. Once again, I'm going to get back into LSU. I won't spend too much time on the super chat because we're so close to like the season and everyone wants to talk about LSU. But it is interesting that A&M has gotten so much better in recruiting. And once again, they have deep pockets. So that's part of it. Jimbo Fisher being in the SEC and doing a really good job recruiting that state, and Texas sucking obviously helped out, but I don't know. I really don't know. So yeah, I mean, I give Jimbo a lot of credit. He's a good coach, but yeah, I just don't get the allure. No national champions. They do produce some really high-end NFL players. So Mike Evans, a top 10 wide receiver. Von Miller, top 10 modern pass rusher ever, if not top 2 or 3. So yeah, I mean they put out some good NFL guys, but I just don't get it. I just don't get it. I just don't. And shout out to Gabe Bach and Billy Lucci and all those guys. I just don't. I don't know what it is. I just don't. Now, it is a little interesting because a lot of these out-of-state recruits that are in the state of Texas, A&M's done a good job taking care of business on these 50-50 guys. So for 2023, they came in and got the good quarterback out of Zachary, Eli Holstein, and obviously they stole Bryce Anderson from us. But Paris, you know how we are. We love us some Harold Perkins. Paris, you are the president of the Harold Perkins fan club. Fingers crossed on that. Shout out to Leonard. Good to have you, my guy. Be safe, Leonard. Okay, so for the prayer warriors of PHL, here's why you really got to keep Leonard in your thoughts, okay? It's a twofold thing with Leonard. So Leonard does work in the electricity field. So not only does Leonard have to bunker down for the storm, okay, he also has to go back out into it once it's done. Leonard's been with us for so long. So before we get back in the LSU chat, I just want to show Leonard some love. Not only a loyal viewer, he is super chatted. He has supported us from the get-go. He watches every single one of our videos. So Leonard, Godspeed to you, my friend. Old money, baby. Let's see. I want y'all to take this in right here. That sounds very ominous, Leonard. That sounds very ominous. I don't like the sound of it. But here's the thing. Even though I'm a positive person, I like to think of myself as a positive person. Even though most of you are positive people, we also do have to be realist. And this is a very real thing. It's a very real thing what Leonard is talking about. One of my best soccer teammates, Jacob Stover, is an electrician as well. And when these things hit, it's not only the fact that they work 14 to 16-hour days. Legit. You can ask Leonard himself. I am not exaggerating, hyperbolizing, or anything there. It's also very dangerous. So, Leonard, shout out to you, my friend. You're my guy, man. And Leonard, if you need somewhere to evacuate, let me know. You got my info. Plum, I just shouted you out a minute ago. Is anyone else going to the game? Yeah, so Plum, I wish Jared was in here. Let me email Jared. I'm not sure if you Jared Addison. He's in here all the time. We've shouted Jared out a few times tonight. Let me send Jared a message because it would be cool to see you guys link up. All right. So once again, we're over 100. That's good, man. It's really good. Yeah, I know. Plum, where you been, man? Yeah, Plum, I'm gonna get Jared in here, and I'm gonna try and link you guys up. Plum, shoot me an email after the chat. If y'all want to link up, I can help you guys out. What I tell you, 16-hour days. The electricians are going to be putting in 16-hour days. That is wild, man. PowerHourLSU@gmail, Plum. Or you could shoot me a message. But actually, just do it on email because I have Jared on email as well. And I'll link you guys up. I think Jared's driving out there from Alabama. Let's see. Oh, yeah, don't forget, there's been so much LSU chatter. In about an hour or so, probably a little bit after an hour, about 9:20, 9:30-ish, we'll be doing another fantasy draft here with Underdog Fantasy. If you want to draft with us, the link is down below, underdogfantasy.com, promo code Carter. Haley's going to be drafting. It should be very interesting on her own account, and she's going to be in the draft tonight. So make sure you come by and check it out. So yeah. Yeah, Rain, I was planning on doing one for Central Michigan, and it just didn't work out because of everything with the pandemic and all of that. But yeah, we're gonna try and get a meetup. Probably, I'm gonna try and get the Arkansas game meetup down. I think the Arkansas game would be a good one. That's true. My last draft was so bad. So if you want to be in our draft tonight, underdogfantasy.com. Once again, it's best ball fantasy where all you do is draft. So it's no hassle, very cheap fantasy, and it's only $3. Tonight's draft is only $3 tonight with Underdog Fantasy. And when you sign up and use my promo code Carter, let's just put it this way, you do help out the channel a lot. Yeah, Leonard, I hope you get some good OT, man. Hope you do. Oh, my God, Max. No wonder, just by your comments tonight, I could just tell you were an IPA guy. Really? Oh, man. IPAs? Michael, I don't ever see you in the live chats, man. Let's see. Okay, come on. Carter, one about the multi-tight end and run fits. There you go, Michael. We were talking about that earlier, man. And what's out of Z? God, she is not calm yet for live streams. I want to say hi. Oh, my God.
Hey, Mamas.
This is not like Booger at all. Big opportunity for Bug Strong. You better believe it.
Mamas.
So if you want to draft tonight with Haley and Z.
Can I do it now?
Yeah, you sign up your thing now.
Do I have to do anything?
Yes, you just draft your team.
Can you do it for me?
No, I got to draft my team, and you got to draft your team, and I'm not giving you any help.
I don't want help. I'm just going to do it.
Yeah, just do it. And what's say about a Z? She's got a. Oh, this is. The clown. Explain best ball a little bit more. Your best lineups play every week. So you draft a team of 18 players. Let's say you draft Patrick Mahomes and Joe Burrow. Only your best quarterback score is going to count. And your 2 best running back scores are going to count. Your 3 best wide receiver scores are going to count. Your best tight end score are going to count. And then you also get a flex between an extra wide receiver, running back, or tight end.
You can't see your eyes.
You can't see your eyes. But this is true, Michael. This is such a huge opportunity for Damon Clark. Like, this really is the game. Because if UCLA watches any tape from last year, they will very clearly They will very clearly see that the run fits weren't that great. So
I'm not mad.
That's the thing.
Why is the internet doing that?
I'll tell you this. I do think if there was a game, I could easily see it now because everyone in the LSU facility wants Damon Clark to be that guy. And here's the thing, like our grocery store person will say, Damon Clark might not be that guy, pal. And this is it. Bruce, who's just now joining in, Bruce and Michael, and we touched on this a little bit earlier, and I spent 15 minutes on it earlier. Run fits are key. Cutback lanes are key. Doing your job is key. Reading blocks is going to be key. And look, based on what I saw from UCLA's receivers today, there should be no problem, and even Cordell Flott, there should be no problem with locking some of these guys up. And this could be a favorable, explosive passing game matchup for LSU secondary that struggled to keep everything in front of them. But the key thing, we need that front 7 to make plays because UCLA feasted on that. All right, what's say about a Z? No, Z, you're not coming back in here. She's too wild. She's just too wild.
You're too wild.
Isn't she the best? Yeah, Plum. I'm gonna send Jared your information. Y'all can hang out. Good question here from Isaiah. What's a good year for Derek Stingley? What are the expectations? Well, 2019. I think, obviously that's the key thing, right? It was great in 2019. And that's it. It's kind of weird. It's kind of hard to set expectations for corners. The expectation is to shut down your side of the field. Okay. By doing that, it just opens up so many things you can do for your defense. So that's going to be the very key thing. But here's the thing. Esteban, I really want you to be a part of tonight's fantasy draft. I really do. So please go sign up at underdogfantasy.com and use the promo code Carter. I really want Esteban in tonight's draft. So we still got 3 slots in tonight's draft, and they will go fast. Okay? So that's why you got to go on ahead, underdogfantasy.com, get your promo code in there, Carter. UCLA didn't look like a well-balanced team. Hawaii looked like they were lost most of the game. Yeah, I mean, UCLA's passing attack didn't need to do anything. Even their deep passing touchdown was not a good throw. But yeah, Isaiah, I think the bigger expectation is health. I just think health is going to be so key for Derek Stingley. Just stay healthy, okay? Your best ability is your availability. So I just hope that's the case. This is obviously very key as well. This gets into the nitty-gritty. If we can get some really good defensive tackle play, that'll help out a lot. Let's see. Well, Rain, you can do that. You can cut them up for me. Those take a little bit, man. Let's see. I don't know what's. I always rank Bama's players higher because they thought Smith, Waddle, and Julian Ruggs were better than Chase, Marshall. No, I think Terrace Marshall was a higher rated recruit than all those guys. I think Ruggs was 75th. Waddle was 39th. Judy was also a top 100 guy. Jamar was also a top 100 guy. So really the only guy they were wrong was Justin Jefferson. But yeah, Terrace Marshall was rated higher than any of them. And he was the one that actually went, he was the only one that didn't go in the first. And the only reason he didn't go in the first is because of his injuries. And this is also really key about Zachary. This is a good point. And this was the final point I made for championship week. Okay. So for those that don't know, we did a bunch of long videos this week. Okay. And I know I apologize for the length. Okay. But there was just so much good info I wanted to pack into those videos. And I understand that they don't get 1,000 views. They don't get a gazillion views like, recruiting content does. And I get it. But the reason why I shared all that is because I was looking at all this data and I was looking through all these numbers and I was looking through all these coaching decisions that Ed Orgeron had to make. And I was looking at all these things and ultimately none of it matters if your guys can't stay healthy. And none of it matters if your guys go rogue. Let's take, for instance, LSU's 2007 national championship team. The one thing that Les Miles did not coach that team that well. I won't go too deep into that. I want to focus on the current team. But the reason why that team won the championship wasn't just the luck of getting back into the championship game. They won that championship because they had a lot of experienced guys that didn't do stupid things that would lose you games. Right? It's pretty simple. Like all that comes down to is health, because as Zachary points out, only a few players really got banged up. So obviously Clyde got banged up at the end. Terrace got banged up and missed a few games. Austin Deculus had to miss a game versus Ole Miss. Grant Delpit had to fight through injuries and missed a game. But other than that, there was no season-ending injury. There was no crippling injury. So it is wild the fact that the 2019 team was that healthy. And ultimately, if you want to talk about a championship team, you got to do the little things right. You got to coach the guys up and tell them to do all the little things right. But ultimately, it comes down to the personal responsibility of your players. Not only keeping up their bodies, but and staying healthy. Sometimes when you get injured, it's just random. But this is obviously the very key thing as well. Doing the right thing, okay, and keeping your head on a swivel and being ready for everything that you need to be ready for. Yeah, St. Thomas Aquinas. Shout out to Mason Taylor. It also did help getting Ricky Jean Francois. Who can forget the famous blocked kick? Oh, Larry from Lafayette. Larry, you've been killing the chat, man. This is your first comment in a while, Larry. And you want to talk Quincy Wiggins? Here's the thing about Quincy Wiggins, because I do get asked about him quite a bit. If he goes to Bama, all the power to him. I always cheer for players to do what they feel is best for them. But let's just say LSU does miss him, okay, and he goes somewhere else. That is still the deepest position LSU has on the team, okay? The deepest. That is where they're the youngest. You are for sure going to get an extra year from Ojolari. You are for sure going to get an extra year or two from Philip Webb, who I think is decent, okay? And you got Savion Jones and Landon Jackson and Xavier Carter. At least one of those guys are going to be good players. Okay, I think Xavier Jones is going to be special. Jamon Tapp is still in the class. It's not the end. Okay, it's not going to be the end of the world. I wouldn't focus too much on it. Have a good night, Zachary. Good to see you. I love it, Blake. Ponchatoula. The Avi is kind of cold too, man. I like it. Why are we fighting? The thing that drives me crazy, Reed, is you and Bobby have the exact same avatar. One's an R and one's a B, and it looks very similar from where I'm sitting. That's true, Max. You can never have enough defensive linemen, but the thing is a lot of your defensive linemen cannot play special teams. So, once again, I hope Quincy Wiggins goes to LSU. He is a big-time recruit. But at this juncture, I just don't think it's too big of a deal. Let's see. Got the Texans in the chat. Not talking the Texans tonight. Yeah, Keaton, but I mean, here's my thing on recruiting. The Jefferson thing was a big miss, but also, there's going to be some wide receivers that slip through the cracks. I mean, look at the NFL. I mean, how many 2- and 3-star wide receivers do you see dominate in the NFL? Now, a lot of them are 4- and 5-stars, so like Odell and Jarvis, but there's also a lot of wide receivers. Michael Thomas was a 3-star. Allen Robinson was a 2-star. Cooper Kupp was, I don't even remember what college he went to. There's a lot of wide receivers that were nothing recruits. So for every Julio Jones who was, unreal 5-star, top 10 national player, you have some lower ranked guys as well. Let's see. Let's see here. Never enough defensive linemen. Always build depth in the trenches. Let's see. Thanks for keeping me saying. Yeah. Oh, that's a Big Al. Are you seeing this? Big Al. Big Al. Hey, Big Al, the treasurer of PHL. Larry is coming at you with the dad jokes, and Larry has got the suit in the car selfies going on. So not only does Larry drop a great dad joke pun here, Larry is in his Easter best outfit. I mean, look at how fresh Larry is. This guy is a dad joke waiting to happen. Big Al, this is a problem that Larry out dad jokes you with the same pun to go along with his last name. You guys just take in this comment right here and just enjoy it. Just take it in. Larry, this was such a great dad joke. Are you kidding me? Like, I am just, man. Larry, this is beautiful. Man, Larry, you just look like you're about to get in a t-shirt with some Jesus sandals and gonna throw on the grill after a nice Easter Sunday Man, dude, Larry, I think you can grill. You just look like a guy that could just grill like a madman. Everybody that could drop good dad jokes is also a beast with the spatula. Huh? My bad, Cody. Hey, I'm on cloud 9, baby. Think about this, Cody. Think about this, okay? We are 7 days away from our dear beloved LSU Tigers. Man, I'm going to be waving my flag, my towel right here. I'm so excited. Cody, don't you dare come at me, man. I'm bringing the energy. I'm excited. We've given out some Joe Burrow cards tonight. We've sold some booger bands. Robert's been in the chat. Cliff's been in the chat. Plum and Jared are meeting up in California. The PHL Nation is growing. Freaking, I'm fired up, Cody. I don't know what you're talking about. Mick. Wait, Mick's in here finally? Good to see you, man. I think you missed all the Mason Taylor talk. So, Pegasus, I wouldn't focus too much on, for those that don't know, there is rumors that Covantry Bradford wants to come back to LSU, and I don't know. I don't know about that. You know, look, him and Max did play a lot last year together, but it is a new offense, and I just think that ship has sailed, especially with the 2 new backs in. And you also have Trevante Citizen committed in the next class, and you know, I don't know. I don't know about the Covantry Bradford. I'd like to have him back. His athlete could do some special with Dwayne. I just don't think it's anything too crazy to worry about. Right? I like LSU's room right now. I really do. Dwayne's also in a suit. Freaking love it, man. Let's see. Coaches really like him, though. Yeah, well. Coaches also like Mai Toima. Coaches also liked Ryan Perilou. You know, you just got to be available. And yeah, you know, when Covantry Bradford initially transferred, I totally got it. I totally got wanting to go play for a school like Oklahoma. I just don't think it's the end of. I just don't think it's the end of the world per se. I guess for me, bring in another back. Now, if he played offensive guard, or if he played linebacker or safety, a position where LSU could use some depth, nickel or something like that, that would be a little different. The thing about running back is, and this is something that's a little weird when it comes to football, is have to view the positions differently as far as your numbers are concerned. So no longer are the days that college football teams are going to play 10 or 15 backs, okay? Like, your running back in a shotgun offense rarely leaves the field, right? Because you're playing faster and you're not substituting as much. So the need to have so many running backs is no longer the same, right? Especially if LSU is going to run their 2019 offense and they're going to run 11. So, yeah, let's go to Rye with another very nice super chat. Thank you so much. What do you think that stat line for our defense will look like versus UCLA? I have 2 interceptions. Okay. 2 INTs. Who's getting those INTs, baby? 3 sacks. Right. That sack number's a little low, baby. And 3 tackles for loss. TFL number's a little low, too. There's going to be more tackles for loss than sacks, right? Because sacks also count as tackles for loss. So I'm guessing you meant 6 total sacks. Bruce, thank you so much. You get to pick the next question. But yes, it's 3 tackles for loss is a good number, right? And especially if you're a defense that wants your defensive line to penetrate more. So we'll see. We'll see. Okay, Bruce wants to talk about Bradford potentially starting. Okay, thank you for the super chat, Bruce. Bradford would have started this year if he would have stayed. Love his quickness in the hole. He very well could have. Look, Kavonte Bradford in the spring was also banged up a little. Yeah, you know, at the end of the year, he played the most with Max Johnson out of any of the backs that were returning, outside of maybe Josh Williams. I don't think Josh Williams is going to play really at all this year. I wouldn't that because at the very least, he is, of course, going to play. Now, here's what's very interesting about that is I don't know if Bradford's better than the 2 guys that came in. I really don't. I think Goodwin and Kiner are good football players. I really did like their tape. You know, whenever I look at a running back's tape, and once again, I'm not Kev Falk. I'm not an elite running back evaluator. When I watch a running back play, I ask myself, how many plays did that running back make that not a lot of running backs would be able to make? In other words, how many runs did that runner make that a replacement level runner could have made? And Goodwin and Kiner had a lot of runs that were like, wow, okay, this dude can freaking play. And I was like, wow, that's just nuts. Goodwin and Kiner. So for me, I just think, I just don't know. I don't know if Bradford would have started, but he would have had a good opportunity to play a lot. I don't know. It's kind of weird. Let's see. Has anyone else's internet been shaky? I don't know why exactly. Realistically speaking, do you think we have a chance to run with Bama this year? We'll have a better answer next Saturday. Isaiah, I think the better way to answer that question is not only to wait until Saturday, it's also important to see what does Bama look like on Saturday. So we'll see. To follow up on Bruce's super chat here, TDP and Emory always hurt, and the young guys need time to slowly adjust slowly into the SEC action. I agree with you. The good thing is there's going to be some good Rena wins in there against McNeese and Central Michigan. So you should be pretty good with your running backs from LSU. This is Robert just sent me a message. He said, I'm still listening right now. So shout out to you, Robert, my guy. He's actually going in for a treatment right now. So everyone keep Robert in your thoughts right now. He just texted me. Let's see. Okay. Big Al. Okay. Big Al said, look, I had to go to the joke book. Big Al, I like this one. I died a little inside. I freaking love it. You see, Rai, we needed him back. Oh, man. Yesterday, I accidentally swallowed some food coloring. The doctor said I'm okay, but I feel like I've died a little inside. Let's see. Hit the like button. Blake, please keep the language clean. You can say Buck Fama, but don't do the other one. All right, the poll question got a pretty good sample size here of 164 votes. Matthew, I read somewhere that it wouldn't count against the 25. But the thing is, could he pick up a new offense and boom? So I spoke to Marcus a little bit earlier. He's joining in a little bit late because he was driving today. Everyone welcome Marcus into the chat. Yes, this is perfectly clean, Mick. I love it. Roll Tide. What F you? Going to be an interesting game. A lot will depend on our guards and linebackers. It's not a party unless Marcus and Paris are in the chat. Yeah, Marcus Robertson here tonight too, my guy. Yeah, and Marcus and I actually talked about this on the phone earlier. And we both actually we rarely ever fully agree on anything, but next week is going to be the Damon Clark game. It really is. Like, this game just lines up for him, right? I just don't think especially with the way DTR looked, he's going to be better. There's no way he was as bad as he was through the air today. He's going to be better next week. I just don't think their wide receivers are going to be able to separate from LSU's DBs. Next week is the linebacker game, okay? This is a room of linebackers that you don't feel too unbelievably gung-ho about, right? So let's just go through a few things really quickly. So at the end of 2016, we had gotten to see Devin White start to make some plays. All right. So going into 2017, we probably all felt really good about Devin White. And obviously, Devin White became Devin White. And then in 2018, Devin White came back. And then leading into 2019, Patrick Queen and Jacob Phillips, we both felt pretty good. You know, Jacob Phillips was a good player in 2017, and we felt pretty good because he was also a five-star recruit out of Tennessee, and his hairline was immaculate. That goes a long way. Okay. And look, he did have he had a Juwan Howard level lineup. I was like, God, who is your barber, man? But anyway, the linebackers, you felt good about it. So going into last year, we felt the same way. We're like, okay, Damon Clark from Baton Rouge, this dude balled out in 2019 when he got his chance to play. He's going to be lined up next to Jabril Cox, one of the most hyped transfers we've ever had. And we just thought, they were both preseason Butkus finalists. And Damon Clark got the number 18 uniform. And we were like, okay, Damon Clark at the very least. I think every single one of us thought Damon Clark's floor was Lamine Barrow. And obviously Lamine Barrow was really good, played in the NFL. We thought that was his floor. And we all thought he could get to, a Patrick Queen level player. But obviously that didn't happen. And all Damon Clark's done is worked even harder, and he's put in the work. But let's be honest, in the spring game, it was a little rough. He was not in the right gap a few times as far as his run fits are concerned. So it gets into this. They're tight end. To follow up Marcus' super chat, tight ends can be an issue going into this game. All right. So, this is it. Here's Bruce with the follow-up. The key to UCLA will be pressure from Smith, Roy, Farrell, and Evans. DTR can't handle pressure in his face, but if the ends run upfield, Yeah, what's interesting, Bruce, is there was a really good study, and I know you just joined, a little bit earlier in the study. It was JT O'Sullivan who did a really good film study on DTR. And he actually made some really good plays with pressure right in his face. But your point still stands. If the LSU defensive line dominates and creates all different types of pressure, it's not going to matter. But we'll see. We'll see. I think DTR is better than what he showed today, but that could be true while at the same time understanding that the defense he plays next week is going to be infinitely better. Dang. The bald eagle has landed. I say LSU wins 48-14. Big time. The Cordell Flott skepticism has entered the chat. Okay, so let me ask the chat this question, Marcus. Who would you guys like to see start in the slot? I don't know if the Sage Ryan move is actually the good move here. Okay. And the reason why I say that is he hasn't really been healthy this spring, and slot corner is really difficult to play. So I think Sage Ryan will eventually be the starting nickel at some point. I just don't know if week 1 is the time to do it. But McLaughlin's also been hurt as well. So Cordell is definitely going to be the guy. If that is actually a good thing or not is a different question. Or if you really want to get crazy, is and this obviously is not going to happen. Put Todd Harris at safety alongside Major Burns and put Jay Ward in the nickel. Ricks in the slot and Dwight on the outside. I would prefer that as well, but it's just not going to happen. Let's see. Let's go, Pegasus. Let's go. Let's see here. I wouldn't be opposed. Jay Ward was my starting nickel before this last spring. And I think just based on what I've heard, okay? So I don't rely on too much insider information. But I did hear from someone really reliable that they are expecting a Cordell Flott bounce back. Okay? And I also think if you move Jay Ward to safety, especially considering how well he did play at corner to close the year, and nickel, moving him to safety is also an admittance of saying we trust Cordell Flott to play the slot. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. Yeah, your backups are always going to play. Okay. How deep do they go in the depth chart? I don't know exactly. It would be nice to have one of these defensive ends get some stats. So we'll see. I think Savion Jones would be the first one. I do. Nicholas, let me know. Is this your first time in the chat? Nicholas, please let us know so we can give you a warm welcome. For what I saw, UCLA beat an inferior opponent by running. Exactly what LSU did for years. Interesting. I think LSU's defensive line wins the game, especially if UCLA can't figure out the forward pass before LSU. That's true. It's true. Nicholas, let me know if this is your first time. Yeah, I think what LSU's going to do is they're going to trust Bricks and Sting on the outside. They're going to trust Cordell Flott early, and they are going to, pack the box. So I think they're gonna force him to beat them through the air. I really do. Max throws for 285. I like it. I do. Obviously, a lot of that depends on the weather. But we'll see. We'll see. Let's see. Yeah, Sage. I would doubt you really see Sage Ryan play a whole lot in week 1. You would hope you wouldn't see him. You would hope Cordell goes out there and balls out. That's true too. Apparently, Garrett's been sniping people in practice with some of his throws. Yeah, Garrett's a little more of a risk taker. All right, everyone, round of applause. Welcome in Nicholas. He's the parrot avatar. Freaking love it, man. Need a round of applause for Nick. See? Lock 13. Welcome them in. Nicholas, where are you watching from? Everyone drop where you're watching from. Let me know if we got any new PHLers. I know Marcus is back in the Carolinas. Paris is holding it down in Atlanta. Rain is in North LA. Rai-Rai's all the way up in Canada. Matthew, one of our Bama Tigers. Max in New York. Yeah, everyone, please. Valenti was such a great friend of mine in college. Still a friend of mine. Texas, 256. Are you fantasy drafting with us tonight? Memphis in the house. Paul, is this your first time commenting? Back now from Panama City. I love it. Of course, Esteban is in Texas. KJ says some Jordan Tolles action. Nicholas St. Louis in the building. Let's go. Freaking love it. St. Lou, the home of Ozzie Smith, the Wizard. The home of, that was the only good St. Louis Cardinals player ever, was Ozzie Smith. That's it. No other guys. I stan Ozzie Smith. But yeah, are there any Jordan Tolles fans in the chat? Oh yeah, Matthew, we're drafting. It'll be around 9:20, 9:30-ish when we get the draft fired up. And there is still time to draft. Only a $3 draft tonight with Underdog Fantasy. Just got back from Pensacola. Paul, oh my goodness. Yes, it is. I'm usually playing Madden or at work listening. I love it. Everyone welcome Paul. First time on the chat. Give him a warm welcome. Do not hate on him for wearing an Atlanta Falcons hat. He might just be a big-time Deion Jones fan. You don't know that. You don't know that. Okay? You don't know that about Paul. Okay? Charlotte, North Carolina in the house. North Carolina and South Carolina in the house. Well, in just a second, you'll have your opportunity to play fantasy football with me. But welcome to the chat, Matt. Paul, I appreciate you, my guy. The Dirty Birds hat, man. Not only the Atlanta Falcons, the Falcons have a bunch of just Bama and Florida guys now. But Russell Gage, he could be a Russell Gage fan, guys. He could be. He could be. You don't know that. You don't know that. Okay? Oh, man. I love it. Let's see. I feel better for the trade-off of strength for athleticism there after watching them commit to the inside zone. Yeah, this is obviously very key as far as UCLA is concerned. I just, the one thing as far as like run fits are concerned, I just think LSU's going. There's going to be a few instances where UCLA is just going to have some longer drives, which is fine. Here's something I did see from UCLA today. Okay, their very first drive of the game, where your quarterback has to make the simple throws when they're there. DTR missed a wide open throw. Okay? Wide open. Wide open. Wide open. So what does that mean? Well, let's just say UCLA starts running the football at will on us. Okay? The one thing you simply cannot do if you're LSU is you cannot let them get to you. Okay? You can't, if you're LSU, start making you do things defensively that you think it's going to help stop the run. Okay? Even though UCLA today was way better on the ground than they were through the air, we still prefer them to have to run the ball wire to wire against us than hit us deep, right? So if I'm Durante Jones, I would keep that in mind. What happened last year was Bo Pelini had really flawed logic. Just because your run fits are bad doesn't mean that you have to commit your safeties to the box. It just doesn't mean that. In fact, it means the opposite. You want them to run the ball. You just don't want to give up explosive runs, right? I just think it's going to be too hard for UCLA to run the ball all game long on LSU's team. I just don't think it's going to happen. I just simply do not think it's going to happen. I think they'll be able to run the football successfully. I just don't think it's going to be a thing that they could sustain from start to finish. Now, there will be some drives where they're going to gash us a few times. That's the danger of running a 4-3 front. You can be a little over aggressive and they get you for a 20-yard cutback. Okay. And that's why, once again, we've said his name a lot tonight. We know Damon Clark's going to play a lot. And this wasn't what he was good at last year. This type of matchup. Okay. The games that he really had issues were these Missouris and these South Carolina games where, it required you. They really put a lot of stress on those backers. And Valenti is a sharp. He understands this. It's a myth to think that Chip Kelly is just, this passing wizard. The key to a Chip Kelly offense has always been the run game. It's just running out of shotgun and giving your running backs different levels of variations to run. So yeah, you got to keep that in mind. Let's see here. Let's see here. Baskerville played the runs. Fred, how about it? Everyone welcome Fred. A lot of first-timers in here tonight. Fred Booker, that is such a great name. Welcome. I love it, man. Fred, one of my really good friends growing up in New Roads, Louisiana, my guy Buff Fred. His name was Buff Fred. Bufred. Okay, Buff Fred. That was his name, Buff Fred. And I hung out with him all the time. He was my granddad's best friend. And he would always give me free bags of Funyuns. My grandpa would take me up there, and my brother would be up there, and Buff Fred had his grandchildren, and we would just hang out. New Roads, Louisiana, which, by the way, I got to shout out my guy, Matthew Langlois. Let's freaking go. I hope to see Matthew Langlois on special teams first day. Let's see here. Didn't we have a Fred Booker play for LSU? Fred, did you play for LSU? Are we in the midst of legends? Hit stick. I love it. I love your graphic too, man. They're not running like that on us. Combine that with the fact that Cordero had all day to pass in the second half. Max Johnson should have a field day. That is true, hit stick. It did seem like he had time to throw the football a little bit more than usual. Well, welcome, Fred. Good to have you, man. Good to have you. If he makes reads next week and gets on the right page, he's going to make millions. Okay, so let me ask you this. How many of you are feeling confident about Max Johnson next week? Okay? As in, let's just say our defense, let's just throw this. We've talked so much about the defense tonight. Let me throw this out of here. Let's just say the defense gets gashed, okay? And let's just say our defense can't stop anyone. All right, the first game of the Durante Jones era is a disaster. It could happen. Okay, Chip Kelly's a great play caller. How many of you trust, and we're not talking about Ole Miss's crappy defense and the downpour in a home game. How many of you trust Max Johnson to light it up and lead us to victory? Okay, let's just say things aren't going your way. Okay, Matt Flynn versus Auburn. His wide receivers were dropping everything. The defense had a few rough spots. We needed Matt Flynn to go win us the game. His first ever 300-yard passing game. He threw for 312 yards. Each one of his elite wide receivers dropped an easy pass. How many of you feel Max Johnson can do that? Can have one of those Mahomesian games where the defense doesn't show up, we need you to go win us a game. Okay, but here's the thing, Dwayne. I think Max will be just fine as well. But the question isn't about just fine. I'm talking about people. We're talking about a real baller.
Says I got $35.
Yeah, you got the bonus.
But did I do it right?
So in the text message, click the league, and you'll be able to go to the text message.
I'm already in the league.
I know. You got to sign up.
I did.
I know, but then I'll put you in the league. Come here.
I already entered, and now it's saying go do it again.
There we go. No, you joined the wrong one. Now you're in two different leagues.
Well, I didn't know what to do.
You're gonna have to draft two different leagues now.
I'm not doing all that. But I went by the thing you gave me. So now I got to enter it again.
Oh yeah, you're in this one now. There you go. We'll be starting soon. You know, I wouldn't focus too much just on one article. You should feel a little strange, I guess you could say, about the timing of it. I didn't get to read it this morning, what exactly did it say? But either way, we won't really know anything until the game actually plays. But yeah, you should feel shaky behind the offensive line. Yeah. What if Max Johnson walked out there with one of these things, man? Max would be a bug guy. I like it. I like it. I freaking like it. I don't worry about Batgirl's lateral quickness. Yeah, I mean, he's not Patrick Queen level athlete, and he doesn't have, a crazy ceiling, but he can get the job done. A good, his ceiling is probably Ryan Baker. He was a good linebacker at LSU, but not great. Yeah, it's true, Isaiah. That's true. But Max was overall really good in that game. Okay. Let's see here. I think he shots at a lot of people with his year 2 poise. I freaking love that. Let's see here. Max was a top 10 QB coming out of high school with an efficient info. That he'll be fine. Carl's got the Coach O photo. I'll tell you, Carl the Cat goes to every game. We had a Fred Booker that played. I like that, man. I do. Let's see here. Let's see. Hey, fight night. I wish I could play the fight song. Let's see. All right. Let's get this fired up in just a second. Thank you, Reed. Unlike Rain, Reed actually shows me some love. And I know Reed and Rain go at it from time to time. How about this, Dwayne? Cole Taylor, freaking would love him to go off, man. Freaking love it. So, for those that are signed up with Underdog Fantasy, here's what we'll do. I know I have a few people in here that want to draft tonight, but have been in a part of a few of other drafts. So if you want to draft with us tonight, we'll fire this up in just a second, and we will draft with Underdog Fantasy. So the league will start drafting when it fills. Okay? Colin, welcome, my guy. Colin, I'm gonna let you know this, man. I think this is your first time commenting, so welcome, and thank you for your service. Now, I say that because number one, thank you for your service. But Colin, if this is your first time being a part of the chat, I would say probably 75 to 80% of our audience are veterans. We have so many veterans that are current serving military that actually watch our channel. And I think that's so cool. I really do. Oh, Colin, you're drafting with us tonight. Okay. Everyone welcome Colin. Here we go. Welcome to the draft tonight, man. So we got a few extra people to fill in right here. So, Dwayne, there was no scrimmage today because the team had to evacuate to Houston. Okay, so that obviously stinks. But yes, the team is evacuating to Houston because everything that's going on right now. So, yeah. Welcome to the channel, Colin. Oh, that's cool, Kareem. How did Caden do today in his first ever game? Everyone welcome Kareem to the chat. Kareem, I have not seen you in a minute. I was thinking about you the other day, Kareem. I was like, hold on, Kareem and Caden would watch our channel all the time, and basically, you know, it's one of those things, man. Kareem, I think I feel some ice between us. Okay, I really do. So one slot left. We prefer to go to a new player. We got a bunch of new players here on Underdog Fantasy. Once again, if you want to play and you want to support the channel, go to underdogfantasy.com, type in the promo code Carter. Johnny's not been in here tonight. I got to send him a message. And while the draft goes on, guess what? You get to hang out with me. So there we go. Chrome tab there. Share. So what position does your son play? Oh, okay. Kareem? Kareem, I don't know how to answer this question. Okay. 47-0. How did it even get to that? How did we get to a 47-0 situation, Kareem? Fred, a first-time viewer with a big-time super chat. Freaking love that, Fred. So Haley is drafted with us tonight. You need to get into our league, baby. Just come in here. Well, just leave her out there for a second. Losing Dare Rosenthal was a big blow. I see what you're talking about, Carter. I was high on Cam Wire, but I went back and rewatched last year's game. Yeah, Reed, there were some rough games for Cam. The Auburn game was particularly rough. That was his first road start. I know Vanderbilt was his first road start, but still, that was his first real road start. And it was kind of rough. But then again, you know, when the rest of your offensive line wasn't playing well, and that's a kind of concerning thing, Reed, is when it comes to this offensive line, it's not just what is it? Give it here. What are you doing, Z? Okay, you got to go in active right here.
Okay, and who am I?
You joined a 10-person league?
I don't know what I did. You're the one that did it.
Oh my goodness, a $10 league.
Is that me?
Yes. So it's about to start in a second. Be ready to pick. Y'all two are
I don't
picking.
even know how to pick.
So yeah, Dare Rosenthal was a big loss, but still, life moves on.
When you're done with this, she's all yours because I'm going to bed.
Z, why are you being bad tonight, Z?
Because I was gone all day.
All right, we still need one more person to sign up. Go to Underdog Fantasy.
Do I have a name in here?
Yeah, what's your username? What was your username?
No, like who's in here with me?
Marcus is in here. Annie's in here.
I don't know what I'm doing.
You just pick your guys.
Can I pick them now?
No.
Oh.
Oh, you should have come up with a better name than Haley0106.
Am I in the 6th person? Which one am I in?
You just stay in this one. That's all you got to do.
Well, can you title it something?
The 12-person team.
Will you title it something so I know?
Yes.
Can you do that now?
Yes. See how easy that was?
I've never done this.
There you go.
So now will it say that in the thing?
Yes. Power LSU. That's the one you're in. So if you get out, there you go. You just click that.
When do I get kicked out?
You didn't get kicked out.
Oh. Hi.
Oh, man. So as you could tell, we have got some real Josh Norrises in here tonight. Some fantasy sharps are in here.
Is that offensive?
That is not offensive. Josh Norris is like the greatest fantasy expert
You're
on
being
Underdog.
facetious.
I'm not being
You
facetious.
were being facetious.
But Dwayne, there wasn't really much of a scrimmage today.
You didn't even use that.
I thought you had dropped Z for a second.
I'm about to drop her and chew up all this stuff in here.
Wait, Kareem, y'all played the number 1 6-year-old team in the country today, and you lost 47-0. Kareem, what's going on? I thought Haley would have fun with this tonight. But Kareem, 47-0? What was your son was on the field when this carnage was happening? Like, what was going on, Kareem? Give us the dad's perspective when you're watching your son get beat by a team 47-0. What's going through your mind? Is there anything going through your mind? Is there is there anything? Let's see here. One more to fill it, and we'll get this thing started. Thanks for everyone joining into the draft with Underdog Fantasy. There, we got a bunch of new signups today. Really, I think the whole chat wants Kareem to break this down. So how did it start? Was it just one? Please tell me there was one, because here's the thing, Kareem. When you get beat that bad, every time you see a score like that, there's always a kid who is playing in the 6-year-old division that is unnecessarily huge, right? It's like one kid who like had a bad growth spurt. It's like a 6-year-old with a mustache. His name is Carl. His dad's name is Ralph. Ralph is at the game watching Carl yelling at him. And Carl has like just not a full mustache, but just some fuzzy mustache. And Carl is like 5'9", 190 for a 6-year-old. And he just gets the ball and houses it. But anyway, as this draft fills, big baby playing running. That was probably what happened. Yeah, 47-0 beatdown. But once again, we're waiting for that final player. Who's going to be that final player? Who's going to draft with us tonight and have their picks broadcasted all over the world with Underdog Fantasy? I think what happened was everyone saw that Haley was drafting tonight, and they did not want to take up this final slot. And that's perfectly fine. I totally understand it. Huh? But yeah, if they're number 1 in their age group, odds are there is a player or two with birth certificates that have to get reprinted after a flood. Exactly. And you know what's interesting? There was I remember when Freddie Adu was going through the ranks. Who remembers Freddie Adu? Okay. The phenom soccer player. Like there was questions about his birth certificate because he was just so good, but he wasn't like this is funny right here. I love it. The kids, some played both ways. Oh. Caden's team was all first-time players playing against the professionals. I freaking love it. Oh, man. Basketball does have that issue. He did okay. So Caden's an offensive lineman. He did okay on the offensive line, but got pancaked twice. So I'll answer the Max Johnson question. Here's my thing on Max. I think he can win you a game, right? So like last year, the Ole Miss game was him and Kayshawn mostly carrying the weight, but as you guys saw, the game should have been a blowout. Max missed a bunch of throws. Then the Florida game was a game Max did most of the heavy lifting, and obviously it did help out that he had a lot of very important things go his way, such as a pick six and a few lucky bounces here and there. But mostly, if you go back and watch the Florida game, and this is why I like QBR as a stat, I just think QBR is the most accurate representative of a quarterback's success, because Max's stats in every way was better versus Ole Miss than Florida, but the film backed up that he was better versus Florida than he was against Ole Miss. And the only stat that outside of 0 interceptions to 1, the only stat that showed for sure that Max was better against Florida than he was against Ole Miss was QBR. I honestly thought Max's QBR would be higher against Florida. But in that Florida game, there was just his offensive line protection just wasn't that great. And that's the thing. I didn't get a chance to read Brody Miller's article this morning, but what I'll tell you is for me, the pass protection is a bit of concern, but I think that would have been the case with Myles Brennan. And I'll still stand by what I said a little bit earlier, okay? I still believe that that even with understanding that Myles Brennan would have been the starter, I still think it's up in the air. Even with that said, I would still prefer Max Johnson to be the quarterback if we were in this spot right now. And I'll also say this. I do like the fact that we will head into next week decisively knowing that Max Johnson's going to be the guy. So with all of that said, I feel really comfortable with where we are right now with Max Johnson as quarterback, more so than I would have been if we were flip-flopping between Myles Brennan and Max Johnson. And keep this in mind. Let's just say Myles Brennan was healthy and Ed Orgeron said he was going to make the decision all the way up until the week of the UCLA game. What I would say is I'm really happy that this decision was made weeks ago instead of now, while we are packing our bags and going to Houston and having to deal with this crazy pandemic, we're dealing with, or not pandemic, hurricane we're dealing with. Okay. One more person to fill the slot here. Had someone who had to back out because of money. Not money, but their deposit wouldn't go through. So we had 12 ready to go, but someone backed out. I love it. As a dad, I was proud, never give up, going, Kareem, yeah, I'll happily come coach the defensive line. I'll tell you this, Kareem, one of my best friends is an offensive coordinator in Switzerland, and his offense was not great today. They played in a torrential downpour, and they played against the best team in Switzerland. And even though the score wasn't as lopsided as yours was, it was a lot of the same thing. Sometimes when you're just playing a better team, it could be like that. Kind of like, when it's a mismatch, when LSU and Oklahoma played. That was a joke. Some of you laughed. But still. Let's see. I don't think, I mean, we just need one more person. One more person to fill. Let's see here. You got to have that attitude at 6 years old. That never say die attitude. Sent a message to Ulysses. So the person that was going to fill the slot said they're having issues with their stuff. Whatever. I'll just keep talking LSU. The international basketball leagues, yeah. Here's the thing about football. At least it's still a team game. Whereas in basketball, if there's always that one kid that's 6'8", it's just not fair. It's not fair at all. One of Haley's nieces was in those where there was just some kids were just like way too big. And I was like, really? And it was one girl who was like 5'11" in like an 8-year-old league. And it was not fun to watch. Let's see here. Let me go to this comment right here. Fred, once again, I appreciate your super chat. Welcome to the asylum. You know what, Reed? I go back to this comment from a little bit earlier. This very well could be the difference, right? As far as LSU not reaching the college football playoff. Honestly, you know, for me, when you lose a player of that caliber, of course, you begin to panic just a little bit. But for me, I don't know if I feel as if, no, it's all good. I don't know if I feel as if that could be the difference in going to a national championship game. But I think about someone like Saron Black, who came back for just so many years, and how much of a difference it was in having a player like that. So we are full. King Ulysses. Dude, everything's going great tonight. Good to have you back, Trust Pumps. King Ulysses is in the chat tonight. So there you go. Maybe you can come in here and draft. Look, my babe is drafting right after me. We could totally collude and stack this draft right now. So, Towboat, you have the #1 overall pick. Everyone welcome in Johnny. He is also an Alabama LSU Tiger. He is also drafted tonight, a loyal PHL viewer. Shout out to Johnny in Birmingham. All right, babe, your pick is coming up. No, it's all good, man. I'm clock with pick number 4. Who am I going with here? I'm going to go Kelsey. Kelsey at the 1.4. All right, baby, it's your pick. Reach. Just pick whoever. Who did you pick? Why did you pick Brandon Allen of the She's picking all Arkansas Razorbacks. So probably in the first time in underdog history. No, that wasn't Josh Allen. That was Brandon Allen. But Brandon Allen is Joe Burrow's backup. The first time. I thought it would be fun for Hey to draft because she was hearing about how much you guys have been supporting the channel on Underdog. But the first time in underdog history, Brandon Allen goes at the 1.4, 1.5. As you can tell, this is elite, high-level fantasy football. I'm going to be doing one before the season, Carl. I'm working on Underdog, getting it ready to go in Louisiana. I need everyone's answer to this question right here. Who will be LSU's leading tackler versus UCLA? Okay. Joe Burrow going at the 1.10. 2 Bengals quarterbacks in the top 10. Gotta freaking love it. MJ 2-3 getting back-to-back picks. MJ 2-3 signed up tonight on Underdog Fantasy. I freaking love it. He takes Stephon Diggs. And he goes Najee Harris right there. Mike Jones. I think Marcus is in this draft. Kareem's going Bug Strong. Trust is going BJ Ojolari. All right. Tackles. Who scores the pick 6 versus UCLA? Let's see. Your next pick is in 2 picks. Just anything. You already got a quarterback, so you want to get running backs and wide receivers. Mm-hmm. Calvin Ridley's a great pick. No. Got Ojulari in here. Ojulari gets the pick 6. BJ Ojulari, Graylin, where have you been tonight? Are you safe, Graylin? Baskerville for the pick 6. Freaking love it. Don't forget, you can sign up underdogfantasy.com. Helps out a ton. A ton. So I got CD Lamb in my queue. That's what I'm going for next. I hope he doesn't get sniped. Who here is a CD Lamb fan? Yeah, Graylin, hang tough. I was wondering if you were going to be in here tonight. Graylin, you also got to send me your email or shoot me an email with your address. I think you got some booger bands last time. There we go. Able to give a guy. There you go. Hey, he's not having a bad draft other than taking Brandon Allen at the 1.5. You have CD as a wide receiver too? I like it. I think tonight. The funny thing is the funny thing is everyone drafting tonight is also watching me do my draft strategy tonight. Carl the Cat, who are we going with? Scores the first rushing touchdown. Rob Gronkowski. Oh, I forgot to do this. Go to draft so you can get the full screen experience. There we go. powerhourlsu@gmail.com, Graylin. Or I think you follow me on IG. You can send me a message on there as well. And then we'll get you your booger bands. Let's see. And QBs are going early. Amari Cooper, not a bad pick. Tyler, I'm going to go with Clemson. I think I get a coaching staff advantage with Clemson and Dabo. So I'm going to go with that right now. Not too in love with it, but that's what I'm going to go with right now. Let's see. Okay, I'm going to get A-Rob. Allen Robinson. So who's our next pick going to be? Shh, Mayhem. Don't tell them my strategy. Don't do it. Who? TDP for rushing TD? Okay. Jamar Chase. Towboat's going all LSU. I like it. Can't blame you. Going with BTJ. I forgot. That's your teammate. Trust Pumps. So for those that don't know, Trust Pumps and BTJ were high school teammates. That's cool. Jamar with the drops. Let him sleep. Shh. Let him sleep. Shh. 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 Let him sleep. Let him sleep. I'm gonna lock up this next right here. Okay. Gotta go B2J. Gerald, I'm hearing rumors that that LSU could be the underdog. Higgins. Okay. Okay, Sean. Okay, now let's do a very controversial one. Tom Brady. Brady. Okay. Mayhem, you don't have to lie. They're good. It's okay to admit they're a good team. Ain't no need to fade it. Ain't no need to fade it, baby. Kareem, let's go. So, round of applause for Kareem. His son, Caden, does watch the live streams. Caden, yes, y'all got beat down bad today, but it's okay. You're going up against a team of kids that had mustaches. It's okay. You got beat 47-0. You just got to go back out there and fight as hard as you can the next time around. Okay, Caden? That is my message to you, Caden. Okay? Go, Caden, go. Go, Caden, go. Crap, I don't know who to pick here. I guess I'll just... Take Brandon Ayuk.
Your tacos are in the microwave, and I got you chips and salsa.
Are you still drafting?
It's autoing it for
No,
you.
no, don't auto it. Draft your
Baby,
team.
I'm going to bed. I'm tired.
Haley already gave up, guys.
I'm tired.
Haley already gave up. She said the Brandon Allen pick was too good to be true. Toss that.
But did you hear what I'm telling you? All your food's in the microwave. Your salsa's in the fridge. Your cheese is available. Everything's out where you would need it to be seen, okay? So you don't have to come bother me. I'm going to leave the baby out.
Don't leave her out here. I thought you were giving me that tea.
No.
Ugh.
I'm about to go to bed.
He's laughing.
It's 5:30.
Shout out to you, Caden. Devonta Smith. Kareem Hunt. Exactly, Tyler. Even on his touchdown, man, I don't know. Chad, this is such an interesting comment. Just phone. That's all his comment just says phone. Haley gave up. I don't know why Haley gave up. Trevor Lawrence going early. I like it. But Tyler, I agree. I just don't. DTR was really bad today. Like that miss in the red zone was so freaking bad. He was wide open. Wide open. But it is what it is. I just don't. It's just not. I just don't think for me, I would worry too much about DTR going into next week. Love it. Mm. 47-0 though. My goodness. The Master Blaster. Tony, you just missed out on the draft. I know you told me, I think you told me recently you wanted to do another one. And we had a slot open for 10 minutes. Someone backed out that said that they were going to do it. They said they had trouble getting in on the app. It's okay, Tony. Ask me anything, Tony. You dropped DTR in a college fantasy league? Huh? That's funny. Oh, boy. I get to complete my stack. Okay. I'm loving this draft with the upside here. Trust, this is my take on it. And I know BTJ is your guy. I like Brian Thomas Jr. a lot. I still think Jure is going to be your number 2 guy. I really do. And I understand. I understand. I know Walker, Louisiana is really excited to hear what they've heard so far from the media as far as what he's been able to do. So, for me, man, it's really, really hard for me to not see to not see Brian Thomas Jr. playing some next season, because he is so highly rated. I'm actually gonna go Darnell Mooney here. So normally, Tyler, this is where it's going to get interesting. Normally, you get a depth chart at the Coach Orgeron press conference on Monday or on Monday, but of course, the press conference on Monday has been canceled. So yeah, you're not going to get that because obviously the team is in transit. So that stinks. But at some point, you will get a depth chart. You will. Not to worry. Okay? Corey Davis was a really good pick, whoever took him. I thought about getting Corey Davis there, but I'm stacking heavy in this draft. Heavy. Colin, I love it. Colin, you better come around more often to a few more of our live chats. I'm telling you, Colin, we have so many active military and veterans like Tony. So I saw UCLA playing a pressure defense. We'll have some trouble with it, don't you think? Yeah. If UCLA is watching any type of LSU film or reading anything basically from what the media has been sharing about LSU practices, you better believe that they are going to definitely stack the box and just come after LSU. It's going to happen. Something really quickly about Underdog Fantasy. One thing I really like is that you can go here and you could see the colors of your team. So you could see blue is tight end, green is running back, orange. I just love this. This is probably my favorite thing that they have on this app. And other drafts have it too, but this one's just so much easier with the color coding. But yeah, I feel like for me, I just don't. I wouldn't worry too much about their pressure defense right now. I think either way, LSU should be fine. Let's see. That's my pick. I'll reach a little here to make sure I get them. Got him at about the same ADP too. Not bad. So J.K. Dobbins goes down with the injury tonight. Not sure. I'm not so sure, man, with the corners running in like that. You have to know your protection packages. True. One thing, Tony, and I'm glad you bring that up. Okay. I think LSU this season will look into playing at a slower pace. If you don't feel comfortable with your offensive line, it might help them to play at a slower pace. It might. Now, will they do that? I don't know. But we'll see. I'll just complete this stack. I have Justin Fields in 5 different leagues. So I have Dak Prescott's number 1 and number 3 target, and I have Justin Fields number 1 and number 2 target stack. How about that? What do you think, Tony? So I am pick number 4. So at the 1.4, I ended up choosing Travis Kelce. But Tony, tell me this, Tony. You're a sharp guy. UCLA, I don't know. I didn't watch their defense as closely as I watched their offense. And I know you're new, Tony, to the chat to this point. Tonight's star of the chat has been DeMont Clark. And you're right on the money, Tony. It is amazing like how many of our viewers are thinking exactly like me now. Okay. And I think exactly like you guys. Because watching that entire UCLA game, Tony, I was just thinking, I was like, oh my goodness. It's pretty crazy that DeMont Clark is the only person I could think about like right now. It's like, it makes no sense, but that's all I was thinking about the entire game. This is his game. This is the game we really need him to step up. Okay. Let's see, I don't have a ton. My favorite receiver in fantasy was just picked, guys. Jacoby Myers. Tyler, my team's looking good. I'll let me see. This is my team right over here, Tyler, to the right. So far, I have Dak, Justin Fields, Jonathan Taylor, Kareem Hunt, Gus Edwards, CeeDee Lamb, Allen Robinson, Brandon Ayuk, Michael Gallup, Darnell Mooney, and Travis Kelce. Not in love with this draft, not going to lie. Reach for a few QBs to complete stacks. But I can live with that, right? I think. Parker. I'm not in love with any of these. Guess I'll go Aguilar. Oh, I'm not in love with my team right now. Amicab, where have you been? We should beat them by 21 or more. Amicad. I love that, man. Freaking love it. That's the kind of attitude we need to have going into next week. Freaking love that. King Ulysses has selected Jameis Winston in every draft that we've done as his QB2. You know what? Can't get mad at it. Honestly, can't. You got to draft quick. I'll go on ahead and handcuff here. And take Hines. Okay. Once again, let's take a look. Got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 more picks. Once again, you could sign up and play. What? I can't put a curse word up there. Christian, you should. You should not panic, man. I'm going full screen to let you know, Christian. You should not panic at all. Tyler, have you ever wanted to root for UL more in your entire life? I would do anything to see Texas get beat. It's kind of crazy, though, right? So you look at like the two of the most powerful coaches in college football right now, Nick Saban and Ed Orgeron. The one thing that both of them have in common is early in their tenures, they lost to a group of 5 team that they had no business losing to. So even if Sark loses, it's not like a death sentence to his career. But still, I would love to see it. I would love to see it. I really would. Tyler, I'm going to let you make my next pick, man. We obviously need more wide receivers. We don't need another QB for sure. We've reached on a few QBs in this draft. I'm staying away from running backs. None of these guys really excites me. Legit, none of these running backs excite me at all. Also, none of these receivers excite me. Oh man, I think I've kind of sucked it up this draft, to be honest. So what are we doing here, Tyler? Paris, say a quick prayer for our guy, Amacat. Oh, I just got sniped. Haley sniped Traquan split from me, and she's freaking auto drafting right now. She gave up after like 2 picks. Okay, I guess we're going Sterling Shepard. Ugh, not in love with that pick at all. Who took Cole Kmet? Who did that? In this economy, you took Cole Kmet? Guess we're going T.Y. Hilton. If this was 3 years ago, I'd feel better about that. Carter the Power. Prayers up to Amacat. Look at you, Amacat. Paris is looking out for you, Amacat. Yeah, Colin, this draft actually kind of became a little sharp. Antonio Brown on the board. I actually am a big Antonio Brown guy for this year. You know Tom Brady freaking loves him some AB. If that crazy son of a gun has been living in your house for that long, I mean, of course you're going to throw him the ball. Oh, man. Let's see what our board looks like now. Okay, we got 3 more picks. Hooper. No. That's true, Amacat. I was actually at that game in the Sugar Bowl. I really was. Mac Jones. This late in this economy? Mac Jones gets selected. That is very strange. But to each their own. You do you. Huh? So in honor of the super chat, we're going to take Paris Campbell. See how that worked out, Paris? In honor of you, Paris. Of course, I had to select somebody with the name of Paris. Okay. I think these are my last 2 picks. Oh, crap. What's his bye week? It's 12. Darwin. Deshaun Watson. That's a high upside play. Trying to decide if I should just. Tyler, I don't feel awesome about it. I do think for me, Tyler, I feel a little concerned about the Mike Jones thing. I don't think for me it's necessarily the end of the world that he's not like starting right away. I didn't necessarily expect that, but at the same time, it is just a little bit concerning, just a little bit. So yeah. All right, Paris, give us your honest thoughts on this. I'm interested. Okay. Paris had canes for the first time today. It's very important. Paris is the queen of PHL. Well, actually, Haley is. But Paris is part of the chat, right? So let's see. Haley picked Brandon Allen in the first round and then said, all right, I'm going to bed. Well. I was going to get Johnson. There's no way somebody took Carson Wentz here at the death. There's no way. Why would you do that? Really? Really? Carson Wentz right now? No way I'm taking stupid Daniel Jones. Is there any running backs that's even worth taking here? Is Marlon Mack any good? I'll key up Daniel Jones. Let me see. Daniel Jones has the same bye week as Justin Fields because I'm an idiot. Ugh. So there you go. Another underdog fantasy draft. Trey Sermon's gone. Oh, Paris. 7 out of 10 for her first Canes experience. Hurry up, Ulysses. Goodness gracious. Ulysses is low-key on the Jameis Winston train. And hate on it. Still can't believe I got Daniel Jones sniped for me. Not Daniel Jones. Carson Wentz. Probably should have gotten an extra running back. Only 4 running backs. It's a little concerning. I'll take it. Matthew, we'll see you, man. Did you have fun, Colin? Thank you for your service, Colin. Tony, I think I'm going to get Yahoo to join your thing. This is a good question by you, Bengals. So is Derek Stingley fully healthy? The only way we can really know that is obviously hear what Ed Orgeron has to say. You know, we don't there. I guess no news is good news at this point, Bayou Bengal. But I think that this is part of it, though. You know, all right, Colin, we'll see you, man. Welcome to the PHL crew. And we'll look at some draft results in a second while we answer. You know, I don't know, Bayou Bengal. I think for me, the hard thing about it, and I don't want anyone to take what I'm about to say out of context, because obviously health is wealth, and health can be a very weird thing. Okay. However, you do have to include this. Okay. You see all these best ball drafts I've done. Okay. You do have to include this as far as Derek Stingley's health is concerned. Okay. Let me put the thing right here so you can see my team. All right. Tony, don't go to bed just yet. This is obviously very key. You're only as good as your availability. Your best ability will always be availability. And with Derek Stingley Jr., you know, obviously last year was some freak occurrence, but it's still in the back of all of our minds that, you know, we were so locked in right before the season last year. Derek Stingley was clear cut our number one player, and we don't know exactly what happened with this hospitalization. And that obviously sucked. But then just all year, the injuries. And now we have another injury. So it is a bit concerning that we are where we are right now with Derek Stingley. I'll blow it up for you right here. So, you know, for me, I'll move your thing real quick. I don't believe it's the end of the world that we don't have. I think based on everything that I've heard, he should be ready to go. But, you know, there's still the what if. Like, is he really healthy? I mean, no one really knows the answer to that question. But we'll see. Here's my draft right here. Dak, Justin Fields, Daniel Jones, Jonathan Taylor, Kareem Hunt, Gus Edwards, Nyheim Hines, CeeDee Lamb, Allen Robinson, Brandon Ayuk, Michael Gallup, Darnell Mooney, Nelson Aguilar, Sterling Shepard, T.Y. Hilton, Paris Campbell, Travis Kelce, and Blake Jarwin. Okay? So now, go to Bizarre, who is new to PHL. Everyone welcome Billy. Much like our comedy brethren that joined us a little bit earlier this week, our guy Wayne. So this was his team. Lamar Jackson, not a bad pick. I do think Fitzpatrick's going to be very fantasy relevant. So there you go. King Ulysses, another good draft for him. Dalvin Cook, David Montgomery, Kylan Hill, low key, could be an elite RB this year. He got JJ. His wide receivers are all SEC. Look at this. Outside of Jamison Crowder and Marquise Brown, he will be SEC, though. Let's see what Haley's team turned out being. So Haley at the 1.1 took Brandon Allen. Okay. Or at the 1.5, Sam Darnold, Antonio Gibson, J.K. Dobbins, Chase Edmonds, Damian Harris. She did actually not do bad at wide receiver. She's right at the best set of wide receivers in this draft. And she didn't even pick. She drafted Calvin Ridley, though, because she loves him. There's a photo of me and Calvin Ridley. Hey, MJ23. Russell Wilson, Kyler Murray. Got some beast at running back. Wide receivers are pretty good. Not bad. Let's go to Marcus. How are you, Marcus? Carolina Fighting Tigers. Justin Herbert, Matt Ryan, Zeke, Chubb, Dylan. I'm fading Zeke and Chubb in pretty much every draft, unless I just get insane value. I just don't believe in either one of them in the next season, which is why I got Chubb's backup. High yield CD. Mac Jones and Tom Brady in the same draft. Thielen, Brown, not bad. Okay, let's go to Johnny. Eric Henry, 5 QBs. Okay, a lot. Only one tight end. That's going to hurt. Need Mark Andrews to carry. Oh, and Nika. Not a bad draft with Joey B. 2 Denver running backs. Got Leonard Fournette. Annie, a big LSU fan. Lots of tight ends. Okay. This was fun. All right, Leonard. Shout out to you, my friend. Thanks again. UnderdogFantasy.com. Leonard, stay safe. I don't know when the next time I'll get to talk to you, man. I hope you get to jump in. I think I have your email, Leonard. So email me throughout your process. Let me know that you're safe. Yeah, Bayou Bingo, but it's time to move on, man. Yeah, but Leonard, stay safe. Shoot me an email. Keep me updated on everything with your energy work, because it's going to be wild. You're in North Carolina? Is that what you're saying, MC? But yeah, Leonard, please stay safe. What is MC? What does MC stand for? Let me know. But Leonard, let me know if you have my email. It's Power Hour LSU. Keep me up to date. Okay. Morgan City. Very nice. Very nice. All right. Well, I'll hang out for about a few more minutes. All right. In the next 2 or 3 minutes, ask me anything LSU related. Planet Low, what's good, man? Ask me anything LSU football related in the next few minutes. As always, we'll keep the chat going. If you Venmo, Cash App, or Super Chat, we'll happily keep this train moving. You got it, Leonard. Just shoot me an email. Keep me up to date, man. Okay, yeah, for real. Shoot me an email in a week, Leonard, and just keep me up to date on your safety. The second president of the U.S. How is Miles recovering? Ed Orgeron said they expect him to be back in the middle of the season. That would be very nice. Simply just for quarterback depth. I don't think any one of us feel comfortable with a walk-on being a backup if Max were to go down. So, yeah. Here's Paul. Nebraska looked weak. They did. But give Brett Bielema some credit. You know, Brett Bielema is never going to be an elite recruiter, but Illinois is a perfect fit for him. That's always going to be a blue-collar university. And I think it's smart to zig when everyone else zags. And everybody's trying to spread everything out. And I think there is room for a pro-style team to just be physical. This is a good question here from Planet Love. 1 week away. I can't believe it. Sleeper player for the UCLA game. On offense, Anthony Bradford could play a lot more than we expect, and he could potentially start. So I know that's not sexy for a right guard. I also think Armani Goodwin is a real deal. So those are 2 deep sleepers right there. And a deep sleeper on defense, Major Burns. I think he'll play a lot, if not start. Or it could be Bayou Bengals guys here, Jordan Tolles. Jesse, my favorite player on the LSU roster. It's a good question. My favorite incoming freshman is Matthew Langlois because he's from New Roads, and that means a lot to me that someone from New Roads is on the team. But my favorite player on this team, I'm gonna go with a few. All right. Obviously, I have a bias towards some of the older guys and just 3-star Louisiana guys. Perfect. John Kirkland would be the best receiver on the team. So I like him a lot. He's a high IQ football player. He does a lot of the little things right. We did a full video on him earlier this week. Not a high IQ football video with him. So yeah, I like John Trey a lot. I also like here's a good one. Here's a really good one. I also like Austin Deculus a lot. This is a guy who has a lot of tread on the tires that have been worn off, and he's giving it all to LSU. And he's not a Louisiana guy. He's a Texas guy. He's just a good Tiger, a good leader on Leadership Council, SEC Media Days. So those two guys I like a lot. Let's go to Roger with a very nice super chat here. I don't know if you covered this or not. Roger was watching the NASCAR race. I don't know if you covered this, but is it an advantage or a disadvantage spending a week in a different town? That's actually a really good question, Roger. You know what? You can make a case that it's better for the team to be in Houston, right? And this kind of ties in with Pierce's question here as well. So for those that Roger sent me a Venmo, and his question earlier, we talked about if it was an advantage if UCLA had an extra week to prepare versus not with LSU. I do think it's an advantage that LSU is having to pack their bags and go to Houston. And the reason why I think it is an advantage, because the whole week is going to be focused on football. My bigger concern with that, Roger, is obviously the hurricane, right? So a lot of the players have family in Louisiana. A lot of LSU's team is comprised of South Louisiana family players. And obviously that is tough to be away from your home in Houston to focus in on a football game. And obviously there's going to be some coursework concerns, but so much of it has moved to online because of the pandemic anyway. So I wouldn't worry too much as far as that is concerned. So the thing is, though, when you pack your bags and you go to Houston, one selling point Ed Orgeron's going to have to the team, and it is a good one, is that we're going to play this game the week after what potentially could be one of the worst weeks ever in Baton Rouge. I mean, this week is going to be really rough. And obviously, my entire family's in the Baton Rouge, New Roads area, 90% of my family. And what's going to kind of be good for the team is Ed Orgeron could say the message, hey, I understand a lot of things are bad back at home, but everyone's escape after this next week is going to be football. Almost everyone's escape. So, and this is what Roger's question basically is practicing in Houston could be an advantage. Think about it this way as well, all right? Another advantage to going to Houston, okay? And this is what really makes college football a truly spectacular sport, okay? Is that there is no preseason, okay? There's no preseason in college football. And I know a lot of you are probably saying, well, duh. Oh, duh. But because there's no preseason And because there's no joint practices, and because there's no off-season 7-on-7, and there's none of that, what's wild about that is the only place you practice is in one location. Okay, so think about LSU football. The entire team has only practice in 3 different spots. They scrimmage in Tiger Stadium. They practice on their practice field, which is less than a mile from Tiger Stadium. And they also practice in the indoor facility. They never go anywhere else. Now, they do other activities as a team, such as play paintball and go bowling and all that stuff. But they do nothing else. They honestly do nothing else when it comes to actually playing football. So when you go to Los Angeles, where the team will be there on Thursday and they'll practice, that will be the first time they will be in a different location for the first time in a while. For a lot of the players that are new to the team, I would say there's might be 5 or 10 players that are true freshmen that may have never been on an airplane before. Dead serious. I didn't fly a lot when I was young. So traveling good could bring the guys together, get them all focused in. So it is a very interesting concept. It's a good question, Roger. It really is. Because I do think it could be a big advantage. I really do. Of course, I'd rather them be at home in a perfect world and not having this absolutely horrible weather that's coming. Of course, Silo. Roger super chatted, so thank him. That's why we're still going. BTJ, the silent assassin. After winning the championship, we always have a down year. Expect a 2010 type season. That would be a really good year. That 2010 team was national championship good. There's just that Cam Newton guy. So, it really is crazy. Like, think about, and this is more just a grand scale thing, okay? Part of why I bring this up, and you guys kill me for it all the time, I brought it up with Peter Burns on an SEC radio show a long time ago. I don't know why there's no 7-on-7 in the offseason against every other SEC team or just against other teams in general. It doesn't make any sense to me. Because these kids never get to travel and play against anyone else other than their teammates. Like, that would drive me insane. It will drive me insane. And the thing about that is, in the NFL, you don't practice a whole lot against your own team. Like, and you definitely don't practice that hard. In college football, it is rare how teams you play, which is a good thing, but it's rare how much time is spent just in one place. Okay. And I understand that we as LSU fans, our dream, every single one of us had a dream of playing, or some of us had a dream of playing football for LSU, or we had a dream of going to LSU and being a part of the program. But what's really fascinating is a lot of the LSU players don't dream that. They end up choosing LSU for the coach or recruiting reasons. They go there to play football, right? So what makes that very interesting from, just an outsider's perspective per se, it's just, no, it's okay. It's okay, Tony. That's fine. Iceman, I got your address. I'm going to send your bands out. It's just wild to me that we that we're in this position where these kids have to practice and do the same things over and over. That's why you see a lot of programs take the players to paintball, take the players for ice cream. They do all these activities because it is scary how, you're going into the same facility every day. Whereas in basketball, you get to travel to all these different schools. And in the off season, you get to play all these pickup scrimmages with whoever. And some guys play for Team USA, some guys play for, whoever. Whereas in football, it's really the same stuff over and over again. Hey, that's cool. Hey, Kylie, good to see you. Welcome to the channel, Kylie, a young PHLer. But you're right, Roger. It's like an extra week of camp. I think it's a good thing. I really do. I really, really do. Tony, you'll be in on Tuesday, man. We'll do another draft on Tuesday. But the Pierce's question, how the hurricane could affect Tiger Stadium, it very well could. Obviously, it's one of the more sturdy establishments. We're just hoping for the best with this hurricane. We really are. All right, let's see. We'll go for a few more minutes. Thanks to Roger's super chat. So if you guys want to super chat and keep this going, I am more than happy to do so. Let's see. See. Roger, that's a good question. Yeah, I'm mad, and he only got to play one game in Tiger Stadium, and it was his worst of the 3 starts. 2008. I would go 2008 LSU. So that team still had Siren Black. That team still had Charles Scott. That team still had Carrie Beckwith. Derry Beckwith. Who's the defensive line on that team? Dorsey left, but they still had a good defensive line. I still think that defensive line was Al Woods and those guys. So I would go 2008. I would. Especially considering the 2020 LSU defense could not stop the run. And you also have to factor this in as well. True freshman Patrick Peterson as well was really good. So the DBs on that team was still good. Let me see. Eight and 5, 4 and 3 in the SEC. I was at the Ben Hill Griffith game. So they lost to Tebow-led Florida. They lost to number 9 Georgia in Tiger Stadium, 52-38. I was at that game as well. I was on the field for that game. That was AJ Green. They lost an overtime game to Alabama. They got beat down by Ole Miss, and they lost in War Memorial at the buzzer. But they did beat down Georgia Tech in the bowl game. I do not remember that game at all. I'm not going to lie. I do not remember a single thing from that game. Not a single thing. Not legit, not anything from that game. So, yeah, 2008 LSU was better. They were better. Yeah, that's and the 2018, you take a look. Okay, they had a blowout loss at Florida. Again, that was arguably Urban Meyer's best team. Okay. Took number 1 Alabama to overtime, lost to AJ Green in Georgia. Okay, getting beat down by Ole Miss isn't great, but that's a 3-loss team after a national championship game. You know, that was the only bad loss. And they lost at the buzzer to Arkansas. You look at 2020 LSU, yeah, the Auburn loss, which was uncompetitive. The Texas A&M loss was uncompetitive. The wins that you had were against South Carolina and Arkansas with extra time to prepare. You beat Vanderbilt, which is arguably the worst team ever in the SEC. And you lost to Mississippi State, who turned out to be bad. So, yeah, I don't think there's any comparison. I think 2008. Really? Better than the 2019 hype videos? Yeah, Riley, that is a good question. So 2014 LSU, that's true freshman Jamal Adams and true freshman Leonard Fournette year. QB by true freshman Brandon. Yeah, 08 beats that team too. 08 beats that team pretty easily. Yeah, Anthony Jennings here. So they started the season with that lucky win versus Wisconsin. Yeah, that would pull up 2014 LSU Tigers. Oh, that was such a good recruiting class. 2014 year. They were also 8-5. Okay, they lost Mississippi State. That game really wasn't close. We fought to make it competitive. Got beat down by Auburn, Alabama, Arkansas. Yeah, that's easy. Yeah, 08 beats that team too. That 08 offensive line was bad, though. But, like, bad isn't good. Gerald Hawkins, Faneka, Elliot Porter, Vidal Alexander, and Lyle Collins. That's a good O-line right there. But we were bad at QB. Oh, that was bad. It's bad. Well, all right, guys. I'm about to go eat some bison tacos. Thanks to all the super chatters tonight. We had our best super chat in quite some time, so that was a lot of fun. And thank you guys for drafting. We'll have another draft on Tuesday night, and yeah, we're one day closer to UCLA. It is Power Hour LSU. Boom. No, thank you, Jesse. Whew.